All right, I hear you now.
You can hear me?
Yep.
Okay. 1 second here. Okay, cool. What's up, dude? So now that we get
Uh,
our way started here, is this your first time signing up?
yep.
Okay. Why are you here?
Um, I like learning how to be better at Dota. I
Okay.
want to be in your bracket and ruin your games.
Okay, so what's your MMR?
4.3 right now.
Okay. And what role do you play?
Never had particularly like any affinity for a particular role. I have climbed playing carry, mid, off lane, but recently I've been playing a lot of position 5 mostly.
Okay, so do you want to focus on position 5 for this session?
Yeah, we'll do position 5.
Okay. And, excuse me. Do you have the replay in mind for what we're doing here?
Yeah, I got one. Let me pull up the replay thing here now. They send this in Discord or
Yeah. Yeah.
okay. That's not chatty.
Cool. Let me share screen with you. You seeing what I'm seeing? Through Discord.
From my Discord. Yeah.
Okay. So position 5, you are Jakiro. You guys won, but it looks like you had a rough one. But
Yeah.
go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I could kind of tell from the game start that it was going to be like a rough waiting stage, at least for me and Juggernaut top against the Bristleback. Um, I and then it kind of went how it looked like it was going to go. Like we were going to lose in the laning stage, and then as long as we did like okay enough, we could out carry them,
Okay.
and that's kind of what happened. Our I think my sniper, my Juggernaut, almost threw a couple times. I'm just kind of wondering because it was basically a hard lane. I ended up leaving the lane, and the Juggernaut kind of stayed in the lane. I think he didn't need to, but I just realized that there was nothing I could have done in that lane, so I just let the Juggernaut off by himself.
Okay. So um the problem with teaching laning to some extent from the support role is that from the carry role, there's a lot of things I can do whether or not you fuck up or not.
Mm-hmm.
As a support, but there's a lot of things as support you can't do if the carry's fucking up. But my goal is, why does it do this? My goal is that if we can get you as a support doing the right thing in lanes, the way I look at it is if you're doing the right thing and the carry's doing the right thing, you're just going to win every lane. That's just kind of like how it's going to go.
Yeah.
So we want it to be that if something goes wrong in the lane, it's never you. That's the
Mm-hmm.
goal as a support. And the reason why that makes it a little bit slower to climb as a support is because once again, if you're doing the right things and the carry's messing up, it becomes not in your control. Like you're just not
Yeah.
able to really solve why you're losing lanes. So the things I always try to say from the support, as well as cores, is the questions I need to ask myself, the things we need to think about going into a lane. So I look at this lane coming up, and you most likely think you're against an off lane bristle, right? Like going into the
Yeah.
game. What are the possibilities of lane compositions the opponent can have
Um. So
in your lane?
typically in the dual lane meta, they're probably going to send Bristle back, and they're probably going to send Pudge for at least a couple waves.
Okay, so it's potentially they could send Crystal Maiden as well, right? But probably
Possibly,
Pudge. But
yeah.
probably Pudge. So the way I look at it is, how do you lose that lane against against Bristle Pudge? Like, what would go wrong for you?
Um, they could definitely get a kill on either me or Jug if they went a hook.
Okay. So, how important is this ward?
Uh, Pretty fucking important.
Okay. So, how much time should be spent not walking to lane, placing this ward pregame?
Yeah, I usually go like immediately go face the wards,
Okay.
but my sniper was asking for tangos, so
Okay, just make sure we share those pregame then. Is
yeah,
what you can do. I don't know if like some people aren't even aware that that's possible. But my point is, so first and foremost, I look at my lane and I go, what can go wrong? What do I need to stop it? Okay, so
mhm,
first and foremost, you said Pudge could land a hook on us and kill us. So
yeah,
in this lane, I would place a ward to see Pudge. So my ward in my case would probably be that I want to play like over here
yeah,
and place a ward like right here.
yeah,
So I see Pudge here and here, like behind
hmm
these two sets of trees, and then I
yeah,
can see when he's walking over here as well, because like that will tell me he's like wrapping over here. You see what I'm saying?
yep,
So
yeah.
that's
And
like good.
they did get a sentry and a ward down in top lane. But I we did make it over there in time to scout it, so we didn't end up dewarding both of their wards. They placed an observer and a sentry.
Okay. So that's good. All I'm saying, yeah, that's important. I can tell you, like, ward battles in the laning stage will, like, win or lose you the lane at higher tiers. So
Yeah,
it obviously affects lower tiers, too. There's just not nearly as many ward battles. So, next step as a support player, okay? And by the way, if you know this shit and you, like, briefly communicate it to your carry, like, the odds are obviously not everyone's going to work with you, but the odds are the lane's going to go way better if
hmm
if you communicate how you plan to play this lane. Like, doesn't have to be an in-depth essay. It can literally be what I'm about to tell you. So,
right.
is Bristleback? What are his power spikes? Bristleback as a hero in the laning stage.
So he's pretty vulnerable at level one. It is his most vulnerable before he
Okay.
gets bristleback.
Okay.
Um, and then I'm not sure how Quill spray, but basically, if he gets like, if he can stay even in levels, he will win the lane
Okay.
probably.
So let's look at Bristleback. So you're right about that. When he gets Bristleback, obviously that helps, right? Let's
Right.
look at his quill sprays. What do you think of this in terms of damage?
So it scales evenly. So
But what about from level 1 to 2? Is that a drastic increase?
no, not really.
It doubles.
I- Oh yeah, the 20 to 40. Yeah, I
Yeah, it
see that.
doubles. So with that in mind, what are Bristleback's power spikes in the laning stage?
Level two and level three.
Yeah, level 2 for tankiness, level 3 for damage. Like,
Right.
huge bonus in damage for level
Yeah.
3. So obviously the quill spray stacks make it so it's not effectively double, but I can just tell you from laning it a lot, Bristleback gains
Right.
a ton of power at level 3.
Yeah.
So Bristleback's kind of like a dumbed down version of Timbersaw, where if he gets level 3 and he hasn't lost the lane yet, he's won the lane.
Yeah.
That's just kind of how it goes. So with that in mind, what needs to be your approach to beating Bristleback?
Um. So you'll probably want to run up like into the creeps. And with the Riki there, we could probably like kill him,
Okay.
and then after that, like it's probably just going to be a matter of zoning him.
Okay. So to be fair, in this
Because
patch, should you really ever have 3 heroes here?
no, probably
Okay,
not.
just making sure. So none of my plans will be according to having my 4 position in my lane. I'm just letting you know.
No, but that's just
If he
more
shows
so.
up or if he stays
Yeah.
here, then so be it. You
Yeah.
should try to gently persuade him to help your offlaner. But if he doesn't, then usually in that case, just advice to you and everyone else is I say, hey Ricky, you should help Puck, and if he just doesn't respond, then that's the end of that. Like,
Yeah.
just
Pretty
get
much.
just give up on that immediately. I need to be better at that myself, but in higher tiers where the guys like rank top 500, I wish he would just know that you're not supposed to try lane.
Yeah,
But
he did go bottom.
okay,
eventually.
so
He just stayed for the little.
cool, good, okay. All I'm saying is, in that case, I'm sure you're going to run into support players that want to try lane your safe lane. So I'm sure it'll apply in your future games. So my point,
That's kinda
though,
like-
is if you go super aggro level 1. Okay, so once Bristleback gets level, this is how I try to think of this is actually something I've never probably brought up on stream before. This is how I think about ability usage and mana and health trading. If the enemy hero is strong, is your a mana and ability usage efficient or inefficient, relatively speaking?
If they're strong, then it's inefficient.
Yeah, so if they're weak, your usage of shit will be much more efficient for exactly what you're using it on, right? Like if you're spending 100 mana to cast something and the guy's weak right now, it'll be much more impactful than later if you spend 100 mana casting it when he's strong. So, with that in mind, how many dual breaths should you use and when this bristleback's level 1?
As many as I can.
Yeah, as many as you possibly can, right?
Yeah.
So the goal is to understand that at any lane matchup is like don't preserve your own resources. That's why I hear like bristleback shits on like anyone that's not top tier because people don't like. I'm not saying like top 5K. I'm talking like even people in 5K don't understand the concept of like expending all of their mana or health when the opponent is weak. Like they don't think about that.
Especially because Jakiro's strong level 1.
Yeah, exactly, right? Exactly. Yeah, no, exactly, yes.
And Pudge gets a power spike at level 2 as well.
Yes, so I'm thinking to myself, if I don't see you... Yeah, if I don't see you in this lane, dual breathing 3 or, like, off cooldown, level 1, then you don't understand the lane matchup. And that's why... Go ahead.
Even with the, like, because usually I try to avoid dual breathing the wave, like the hero in the wave, if it's not like already pushing towards us.
Okay, so here's.
So should I like even like disregarding the lane, just dual breath if they're standing in the wave?
No, yeah. So this is a great question. How often do you watch my stream, and how many of my videos have you watched? Just give me like your 10-second summary.
I probably watch half of every coaching session every week, or like half the coaching sessions every week.
So how often have you heard me talk about lane equilibrium? Pretty good amount, right? So how much does it matter in dual lanes?
Not as much.
Very little, comparatively. I've said my emphasis on dual... If you're 2v1, the only thing that matters is lane equilibrium. If you are 2v1, that is the only thing. But if you are 2v2, then you can't preserve lane equilibrium if it means sacrificing trades. Like, if you're afraid to be aggressive or trade in preservation of lane equilibrium, that's really bad priorities in 2v2. Because if you're, like, so concerned about where the lane is and you're just letting this bristle get a level 3 for free, who cares where the lane is?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, with that in mind, so let's go... Okay, so think about this. This is the logical progression. So we got from where the ward should be, okay? And then we got how you need to approach the lane. And you said, wait a minute, if I'm going to use dual breath off cooldown, I'm probably going to hit creeps. So what's that mean for you? If your dual breath's going to hit him and creeps.
The wave will push.
Okay, so what would you like to do if you're super aggressive level 1, expend all of your mana, and the wave pushes?
Clarity and pull.
Okay, so what do you have to play this lane?
Clarity and a sentry just to make sure he doesn't
a
pull camp.
And a pull camp, right? So, like, these are the things that make top tier support players. Like, they know exactly that thought process every single lane. So, if you think about every single lane and you think certain times the pull isn't that necessary early on, then if you want to pull it like minute 3 or something and you see it's blocked, then you can like fly yourself a sentry. But there are certain games like this one where if you didn't have a sentry, I'd be like, dude, think about it. Like, think about how important this pull is because of what we just went through. So that's something that you can think about as support because you're like, I know this is how the opponent's power spikes work. This is how I need to play the lane. If I play the lane this way, this is what's going to happen, and this is whether or not I need the pull. And like, and so exactly. So you're getting the answers when I ask you the questions. The goal is to get you to think that thought process every single lane. And I just, if you listen to like, when I'm streaming or when like a high level carry player streaming or even when a support player streaming, there's very few out there that do. But when they are, if you hear support players at the highest level, they like the really good ones. I'm not talking like 6K ones. I'm talking professional support players. They will map out exactly how they want the lane to go. Like, they will literally say, like, hey, man, push this wave. Like, go on them here. I'm pulling next wave. Like they'll tell me exactly what they want me to do. And as a carry, it's like, I have an idea of what I want to do, but I can't think. I'm so busy CSing and all that shit that I can't exactly think about what you're supposed to be doing.
Right.
So when you think to yourself this way, it helps so much. So we're gonna. I know we just had a long pregame discussion, but I think that based on what I'm seeing and what I've tried to do in the past, that if you apply the things I just said, you can learn. You can do that every game, and it'll have a massive impact on your ability to do your job. So, let's see. Okay, that's a good start. Okay. And then you saw him ward, so you're gonna de-ward.
I wasn't sure if he got
Okay.
the ward on the pole camp because I didn't think that I didn't see where he got to
Okay.
basically.
Okay. That's fine.
So I just waited to.
Oh wait, so you de-warded a sentry just now for the Ricky?
Yeah, but the Jakiro or sorry the Riki's flying out of Sentry right now. Already.
Okay. Okay. This is actually good. Okay.
Yeah, but our Juggernaut didn't have a lot of regen.
Yeah.
So.
Wait, what's your Juggernaut gun? Oh god.
Yeah.
By the way, I had a guy on PL do this yesterday. I don't know if you saw that game. The guy went 1-15. Okay, so I'm actually gonna rewind.
As soon as I saw his items, I realized how hard this lane was going to be now.
I do have an issue with one thing you did in this lane. So let me talk about it. Because this level 1 shit, by the way, in this patch especially, is like game winning or lane winning or lane losing. That's like that's the depressing part of this game. But let's see. Okay, yeah. So in an ideal world, if you have 3 heroes here and you and Ricky are fighting the Bristleback, do you want the Jug to help you?
I mean, if we can get him off the creep wave and force him back, then no.
No, right? You don't want if possible, you don't want Jug's help. Would you say you and Ricky can take Bristleback Pudge on level 1?
Level 1, yes.
Okay. So, do you know where I'm getting at here?
Yeah, like the jug could me and the Riki could be fighting them like right here.
Yes.
Where we're all positioned, and then the Jug's just keeping the lane equilibrium back.
But what happens is you don't fight them, so what happens?
They get up to the creep wave, and
then Jug's basically forced to participate, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Wow, I mean, clearly you have conceptual understanding of what I'm trying to get at. That I think that was a pretty difficult question, to be honest with you. So
yeah,
I need you to see that in terms of like, okay, all these little questions I'm asking you apply every single game. Eventually, what happens is if you think about the question enough, like each one individually, it just becomes second nature. Like, I want this guy to help me. I don't want this guy to help me. I need this pole camp. I don't need this pole camp. I need to see this with my ward. Like, you'll just think what of these things is important to you every game. And the minute something's not important, like, it'll run through your mind. You just move it, right? Like, it's done. You're like, that thought's now in the background. You don't care anymore. So that's like the natural way that I've seen these high-level players process these type of things. So I think this is a big deal that you let this Bristleback walk into lane. I don't think he should be allowed to do that. And like after you just tangoed that sentry, and I mentioned the dual breath, it's one of those where if the Bristleback's even remotely near you, he should be getting dual breathed. And like you also got the sentry, so you have like extra tango regen going. So I just look at this as you and Ricky allowing this Bristle to walk up to this Jug, so this Jug being forced to take this trade.
Yeah.
And now this. And
yeah.
It's just one of those where if you hear me on my stream, which you clearly watch my stream, it's they're not allowed to do that.
Yeah,
like
the jug didn't have to be a part of that engagement.
Yeah.
You could have had full HP and the lane wouldn't have pushed.
Yep. So for you, you clearly understood what you were supposed to do. Just remember thinking to yourself what the opponent is allowed to do at any given point, based on how strong you are and how strong they are. Like, when I look at people losing to Bristleback, it's always because they allow the hero to overplay as a level 1. Bristleback's like the weakest level 1 offlaner in the entire game, right? Like, and now at level 1, you guys killed him, but you all lost a bunch of health, and this lane's looking pretty bad, actually. The play itself to go aggressive on Bristle level 1 is correct, but allowing him to walk up can be that big of a detriment. It really can. So now you guys know that the pull camp's blocked. You're going to tell him to D-ward, it looks like. Okay, nice D-ward. But at this point, the pull camp not being there is too late, and this is why it's so important that you...
It needed to be pulled like that way.
Yes, so this is why the pregame shit that I flamed you for mid... Okay. Here's how I'm going to describe it. I understand the reasoning when you say, I needed to give my sniper tangos.
Yeah.
And I make the same comments sometimes. Like, I'll do something like, God, I thought this happened and I should have... The end of the day, anything that stops you from having the things checked off the list that I said to you is unacceptable. It may have occurred this game, but you can no longer... Like, you see the impact of not walking out to lane immediately.
Yep.
You don't know the pull camp's not there at 1 minute, so then this is happening, you can't pull, and there's no recovery, and that's all because you were mid-giving tangos to sniper. So it's like, whenever I see these type of mistakes, I want you to know for yourself why you did it, and then that needs to be fixed. So if you said I was giving tangos to sniper, then your tango should be given to sniper pregame every single game. If you're like, wow, I literally couldn't pull and I lost my lane because I had to go give tangos to my sniper, I'm thinking to myself, I'm never not fucking giving tangos to my mid pregame ever again. Like,
yeah, I should like, because he didn't ask until like after game start.
Yeah.
So like,
he shouldn't have to ask, by the way. I don't know.
Yeah, I should like be asking my mid probably.
Okay, so this is 7.19. What should be happening to that creep wave of yours? I know you got hooked.
How many more months before you send me nudes, Kappa Pride?
To Art.
What should be done to your creep wave? This is 7.1819, you know? What happens when you're diving somebody with a triple wave?
Should we glyph it?
Yeah. Think about this. You're diving them, glyphing gives you an extra 6 seconds where these guys don't hit level 2.
Yeah.
Just think about the importance of that. That's what you're doing. And also, if you glyph, then their wave's going to entirely die because these range creeps are all going to live rather than dying to tower. And then if they try to trade with you again, there's like 6 creeps still instead of like 3. You extend your timer of diving by 6 seconds. Just to keep in mind here.
We're still stronger than them. For sure.
Yes, you are still stronger, right? So
yeah.
I know you understand the concept, and you know I'm gonna show you a 30-second clip of me laning with Zai. Okay, this is what level 1 superiority should look like in 7.19. Okay, like when I say it's a level 1 superiority, I mean when you are stronger than them level 1. This is what it should look like. This is Zai on Earthshaker and me on Necro.
Yeah, because Drow's such a shit hero.
Yep. Just wait.
It's basically the exact same thing that just happened in my life, except you guys left.
Is this looking a bit different?
Yeah, because
like you see the difference, right? Like
Drow's level 1, TP's in, like still dies after TPing in at level 1. Now Drow is pretty slow, right? 290, I think.
Yeah, very slow.
Gotta like walk all the way back. Like you're gonna be like level 3 by the time he gets back to win.
Yep, and that game was literally like I end up going like 20-1 in that game, and we barely win. And like the only reason I can have that much of an impact on the game is because I played the first minute or two flawlessly. I've had games like yesterday where I played. I don't remember what lane it was, but I messed up level 1. Oh no, it was the Lena game. It was the Lena game I played 2 days ago or 3 days ago, where I messed up so badly level 1, my impact on the game was literally 0. I messed up so badly, I couldn't impact the game. And that's just how Dota is right now. If you mess up significantly level 1, the game is 10 times harder than it should be. Like, it almost feels like it's out of your control. So all the things I'm emphasizing to you right now are simply because of how important they are this patch. And I just showed you the difference between, like, a little thing like Glyph not being used. So these are all little mental check marks that you can use to, like, help you enable yourself to be more impactful in these games. So you TP back to tower. So you saw the pole camp. I hope you hit it, but it looks like you're going to be late. Yeah,
I kind of like realized, oh shit, it's the wrong.
Yeah, that's simply
yeah,
that's simply yeah, just an inefficiency. So you should go pull the next wave if you're doing that.
I think I
okay.
stacked.
The movement speed creep might have saved you. Okay, you got you got to get better at that. You should like go into a fucking that's going to miss the creep. Yeah, okay. Okay, so there's so many little check marks you have to have. First off, timing.
Yeah.
Okay? This is how I think about timing. What is my next thing that I have to do? This is in the laning stage. This is in the mid game. This is everything. When is the next thing I have to do? This applies to supports showing up to team fights. This applies to carries in terms of their farming patterns. Like, what's the next thing I have to do? And, like, that's why when I talk to carries, I'm like, are you the guy that pressures? Are you the guy that defends towers? How much are you participating in team fights? Because if you understand that kind of stuff as a carry, you'll know what the next thing you have to do is. Which, if you know what the next thing you have to do is, meaning, say I have to be at bottom tower, then you'll understand the conditions for why you have to be at bottom tower. You'll understand when those conditions are going to happen, and you'll understand that you have exactly 30 seconds to get there. So that's how many jungle camps you're allowed to farm. That kind of stuff, okay? So, but as a support, it's like if I'm going to do pulling, I need to know I need to be at this camp by 242. And if I need to be there by 242, then, you know, how fast is my hero? How fast will I get there? That is the utmost priority, is to be there at 242. I would much rather you mess up the secondary stuff that you're trying to be efficient during than messing up getting there at 242. Do you see what I'm saying? So the first step for you is to always be there when you're supposed to be there. The second step is trying to push every bit of efficiency between the time that you're supposed to get there and the time that you have. So, like, that would be an example of that would be, oh, I think I have time to go dual breath this guy and then leave and go pull the camp, you know?
Right.
That's the kind of thing where I'm saying get there at the right time every time first and then try to extend the efficiency second. So we do end up getting the pull camp. Know that when this happens, you need to aggro these. That's like another check mark off your list. These need to be aggroed if this happens. You'll see why. The range creep walks away. Yeah. It's just another thing that if you notice it happen once, you can prevent it from happening again. Okay, so he pulls, or he, like, drags the camp.
Yeah.
Okay. So, this is a great example of thought process. So, what does Bristleback pulling that camp do in relevance to you?
Ruins my pull, and that's gonna mess. He's gonna get the.
So, what's your obligation to being over here? Why would you ever go over there again? Why were you gonna go back there in the first place?
Just to get the last hits on the small cave and start denying the creeps. That's full HP.
Why were you actually going to go back over there in relevance to these creeps?
Oh, to complete the pull.
Okay, so the minute he does this, what's your relevance to here?
Okay, I see what you're saying.
What is it?
You're saying like I should have gone on the Bristleback because I'm.
Do you have any relevance to this anymore?
Not really.
No, right? Like, what's more important? Bristleback being allowed to pull this camp? I can't, because of bugs and shit. I mean, what's more important, this or that?
Yeah, the Bristleback.
Okay, so that's what I want you to think about Dota is. Why was I going to go back here in the first place? Was it for this one creep, or was it because I wanted to pull these two creeps here? So the minute that condition no longer applies, you don't go back here anymore. Like, that's That's how I like to think about it. I know I was like condescending you a bit with my question, but the other ones you'd answered, so I was really forcing it to see if you'd get the answer. So you did.
Right, because I could have gotten like I could have stolen the creep aggro from the laning crew room because
Yeah,
he aggroes that. I could have stolen that creep wave and brought it back.
yeah. And my point is, yes, that is exactly what you should do. My point is, this bristleback shouldn't be allowed to not have to deal with you. So
Right.
if he, so when I say he shouldn't be allowed to not deal with you, if you're pulling this and then you chain pull to this, do you care what bristleback's doing? If he's not stopping you from doing that?
No.
No. But if he stops you from doing that, is he allowed to do that?
Yeah.
Is he allowed to stop you from doing what you want to do as a solo
Well,
hero?
no,
No, right? That's what I'm trying to say. Is like, my point is when I say he shouldn't be allowed to not deal with you, what I really mean is he shouldn't be allowed to stop you from doing what you're wanting to do. But if he is not stopping you from doing what you want to do, then just keep doing it, right? But like if he stops you, then say what the fuck and like run at him.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, that's what I so that thought and like that ability to know your interaction with the offlaner is literally thinking to yourself, what do I want to be doing right now? Is he stopping me? Because like if I'm a carry and I'm like, all I want to be doing is farming, like hitting creeps and denying and last hitting. If the offlaner's not stopping me, if I'm getting every single deny and every single last hit, am I going to go try to zone them?
No.
No, I'm just going to sit on top of the creep wave. When will I try to zone them?
When he's like preventing my carry from getting every last hit.
Yeah, and if I'm the carry player, I may try to help you zone him if he's stopping me from CSing. It's like, if you saw the Necro lane, I missed 5-6 creeps in order to kill that drow. But like, I know if I kill that drow from then on, the lane's free, you know? So I'm just running at the drow, like knowing like instead of contesting every individual CS, I'm like, I'll give up these like 4 CS now and then just kill her and like have free CS later. And it's like, if I'm a carry, if I'm absolutely free farming, I'm not going to go try to kill the offlaner. But if the offlaner's in my face, stopping me from what I want to do, I'm going to trade with them and harass and all that kind of stuff. So that's what I'm trying to say is like you don't need to interact with this bristle if he's not stopping you from pulling. But if he's stopping you, he can't be allowed to do that. And like this is a big deal for the lane equilibrium. What's occurring here? Bristleback's much happier with what just occurred than you two are.
Yeah.
So I don't mind checking the pull. Problem is now the big camp's dead, and you can't chain pull. Okay. So you're gonna dual breath.
At this point, I was wondering why is my carry like, quarter HP, and he's now flying out of cell.
And this is the kind of thing that all the things I presented to you are relevant. Meaning, like, those are the things you should have done better. But this is a fucking joke, right? Like, people take it offensively and
anyone here know what a dead lane is?
Question me of why I would say, as a 7K player, I'm 20 times better than a 4K player. Like, I'm not even trying to be mean, okay? It's just how it is. Look at this. Like, how... it's just one of those things where it's like, what? Like, this is 4K. This is you guys in chat doing this stuff, okay? It's like, what? How is your... Like, I don't care how perfect your Jakiro plays. If my jug builds like this, the lane's over. Like,
I was actually surprised that it was
just doesn't matter.
I'm like, what the fuck?
Okay, so my thing is, when I'm a support, I think, am I single-handedly going to do anything to this bristle if I'm level 3 and he's level 4?
Yeah, he turns level 5 and I realized...
I'm saying, am I single-handedly going to do anything to this guy?
No.
So...
Maybe prevent him from, like, pushing the tower.
Okay, so my question is, if you're not single-handedly going to do anything to this guy, what do you need in order to be effective in this lane?
I need a gank, basically.
You need a core who can help you.
Right, I need probably a pucker sniper.
Can this guy help? No. Can this guy help you?
No.
You don't need to gank him. I'm saying, like, you just need to double team him rather than do it all yourself. So you have to look at this and go, can I double team him? Is the answer yes or no?
No.
No.
Well, yeah, not with.
So what should you be doing go and eye your way up to the clock? What should you be doing?
Getting the runes.
Okay.
Hey VSJ, I'm 8 months pregnant with your child. My mom says I should keep
Unless
it, but I'm
you
not sure.
physically
How do you
can't
feel
walk here
about
because of
it?
how dangerous it is, how long should these runes be here?
I should have one of them by 5 minutes, and
Okay.
the other one at like 5,
Okay.
5 seconds.
And the only reason you don't go for them is what?
Because I might die.
Okay.
And I do end up getting them because the bristleback wasn't.
Yeah, but I'm saying that, like,
I
why
should've
did you
been
get
there
them? Because
first.
Bristleback also didn't give a rat's ass.
Yeah.
If this guy's a good player, I assure you, he pushes
would've
in the
gone
430 wave, like the 445 wave, really hard, and walks over and gets the runes.
Yeah, and that time I wasn't paying attention.
Yeah. Okay. So let me rewind here. So you go mid for your sniper. Okay. So the main thing that I look at is, first and foremost, I think the stick is really important, but on supports nowadays, there was the one patch where supports bought wand. Do you know why they bought wand?
Because I gave the HP regen.
Yeah. So right now, especially on support heroes, 250 gold for 3 all stats just doesn't do anything.
Yeah.
So, like, for how much gold it is. Like, wouldn't you
Yeah.
just much rather have boots than a
the
completed
only reason
wand?
why I spent the wand was because of the bristleback, but I don't think I needed more of an aesthetic.
Yeah, I understand. So if you're looking at Bristleback, right? I look at it as you built the stick to respond to Bristleback. What's the other way things go wrong in this game? Like, with heroes on their team.
I'll get super fed.
I'm talking super fucking early game. How did things go wrong? Meaning you die.
I die. Yeah,
I'm saying, like,
so,
how do you die?
Yeah, so basically, if Pudge hooked me, if
Okay.
I had boots, I could run away.
Okay. So, movement speed based. Movement speed
Yeah.
based. Slow. Movement speed based. Movement
it's all
speed
slows.
based. No stun. Movement speed based. Do you realize how important boots are in this game? Right? Like,
Yeah.
this is how you compartmentalize the
What a
importance
deadline
of
is?
certain items in games. Like,
Mhm.
you'll see, like, there was a game of 33 on Quap at the Summit where he had Aquila Wand Raindrops Veil with no boots. Okay? And if you look at the game, you'll just be like, watching what he did. He was literally just hitting creeps and denying them and pushing a tower the entire time. And they had no way of catching him if he blinked away. So what relevance do boots have that game?
What hero was he?
Quap. Sorry.
Okay, yeah.
Sorry. Yeah, Quap. So it's like, why would you buy boots there? In your case, it's like, how can you not have boots? If you like look
I
at,
at least got the win waste, but I should have.
you know what I'm saying though, right? Like, this is how I need you to think about the game. Like, how do things go wrong at any given point in the game? What's my next problem? I don't need you to think right now at 5 minutes. I don't need you to be able to map out the next 30 minutes of the game. Okay?
Yeah.
I want you to map out the next, what immediate problems you have and what solves them. Like, what am I dealing with right now? Early game, at all stages, like, you have to know people's items, power spikes, and, like, the way they kill you, their method of playing heroes and stuff. You have to know that, generally speaking, at all stages in the game. Like, you have to know that none of these heroes have stuns, and they all walk you down. Like, that's how they kill you. So boots are incredibly valued in this game specifically. And it's like, if I'm sniper, would I go treads or phase with that knowledge?
Phase.
No fucking boots! Okay? We're in 4K. Okay? We understand the importance of analyzing the game and why 4K players are stuck in 4K. I hope you guys are seeing this. And so, like I would have first item, I would go like Aquila phase on sniper this game, 100%. Because look at these fucking heroes. Like, I need to just...
Yeah.
So, moving on. Okay. I'm making sure I'm emphasizing to you that you follow my thought process, not the specifics of this game.
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah. Okay. But I'm 2K. Then you do it even worse than these guys. Sorry, that's what somebody in chat was saying. Okay. So let's see here. Okay, so at this point, is Bristleback really strong?
Yes.
At what point can you outtrade him? These are questions you have to ask yourself. I see a Bristleback level 6. Can I outtrade him with me and Jug?
No,
No. So what's the only way to deal with a hero if I can't outtrade them?
we have to kill him.
Or
Just pull every wave.
or just ignore them. Like, yes, avoid them. So that's the two options. Dead lane concept in the 15-minute mark. That's why it applies with these dead lane heroes like Bristleback. When you are dealing with a dead lane hero like Bristleback, 10 to 15 minutes in the game, the two approaches are to 4-man gank them or completely ignore them. And the only other option that I said there's two is because you can put one hero there that doesn't just die to them. And that's effectively ignoring them, okay?
Yep.
So that's all you got. So is there any of this half-ass shit of lingering in lane trading with this guy?
No.
I don't mind you walking up and dual breathing him because you're putting down to lower health. What's your timing for killing that guy?
What's my timing?
Yeah, if and when would you kill this guy?
7-minute mark with the catapult wave.
Is that a better clue? When do you kill this guy?
I don't know. Oh, when he is. Okay, level 6, yeah.
You see what I'm saying here? These are the
Yeah.
things we like. So yeah, go ahead and weaken him down. But I'm done doing anything until this guy gets
Right.
level 6, right? Like
Right.
these are the things. Like these are the things that matter. Like I literally look at myself and say, okay, this guy needs to die, so we need to kill him the second we can. Some
Right.
games, that's not forever. Meaning like you can't kill him until like 25 minutes into the game. Okay, like
Yep.
that's just how it is. And if you can't kill him until 25 minutes into the game, when should you try to kill him?
If we can't kill him at 25 minutes in the game.
I'm saying if you can't kill the Bristleback until 25 minutes into the game because of spirit, say you need a spirit vessel. That sometimes
Yeah.
happens. When should you try to kill Bristle? 25 minutes into the game when you have a spirit vessel.
Right,
Anytime
yeah.
before that's wrong. Like I'm not trying to
Right.
I know I'm asking the question weirdly, but it's just like people don't think to themselves, when does this guy die? How does he
Yeah.
die? Like
Well,
what's the
just so
condition?
what I shown.
It's all power spikes, right? So I'm like, so this is my thought process. I see Bristle, he's level 6. I'm like, shit, that guy's pretty strong. He's had a pretty good game. I'm like, okay, we can't outtrade him. Like, I think to myself, he's strong. He's level 6. What does that hero do with strength? I'm like, if he's strong, what does that hero accomplish? Okay? Like, every hero is different. So I look at Bristle and I say, can I outtrade this guy? No. How does he kill us? No. Like, he doesn't kill us unless we go on him.
Fuck up.
Yeah, like we have to go on him, and then he kills us. So he doesn't kill us. He outtrades us. He doesn't kill us. He applies a bit of pressure in lane, and he's really tanky. So we can't outtrade him. He doesn't kill us. So then we just have to ignore him, like until we can kill him. When can we kill him?
When we have level 6.
Like a power spike of some sort, right? Like in every game, you're just gonna be like, what's our condition for killing him? And if you look at your heroes and just look. Fuck, like, say the Bristleback had, like, a full Vanguard, and you just have, like, a PL as your safe lane carry, and it's like,
We don't go.
we actually just fucking can't kill this guy, and then you just, and then you don't try to do anything to this guy. That's what I'm trying to say. This is the thought, like, I know I've presented a ton of things to you, but they're all relevant, and, so I don't mind you completely leaving that lane. Obviously, what happened mid is unfortunate, but this is okay what you're doing. Little overextension, but you actually get the, never mind, not overextension, because you get him.
Yeah.
So that was worth.
Yeah, I saw the Bristleback at arena health, and then like I realized like any damage that I do, he can regen.
Okay, so when your Jug gets level 6, is he helpable?
Yes.
Okay, so if your core is helpable, what is that relevance to you?
As a support, I should help.
Should you always help him?
No.
Should you be able to help him?
Yes.
Okay, so
I
thoughts.
shouldn't TP to lane.
Cool.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
If your core is strong enough to help you and themselves, you have to be able to help them. Because my point that I make in my games is like, how the fuck are they doing this to me? Is what I'll say. And guess what my support will say?
TP on cooldown or something.
It's exactly like this shit. Where I'm like a juggernaut about to hit level 6 and my Jakiro TP's bottom. And when I get level 6, I'm like, guys, let's kill this guy. And then my Jakiro's like, TP on cooldown, bro. It's not my fault, bro. I'm like, bro, you shouldn't have TP bottom. Like, what the fuck? Like, so, you know, that's what I'm saying is if your core is helpable, is powerful enough to do something for, you should at least be able to help them. You don't want to go top, right? But if you see this bristleback overextending and diving your Juggernaut, is he allowed to do that if your Jug is level 6?
No.
No. So
just
you
have
shouldn't
TP
allow him to do that. But if you TP bottom, he's going to be allowed to do that. These are all things like I know that we're going through a lot of shit right now. So okay, fast forwarding. Notice what's happening top.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
Looks like your Ricky rotated top too. You guys are actually gonna get this guy. I don't know what
Anyone
the
here
fuck
know
he's
what a
doing.
dead lane is?
Okay, so you're gonna buy boots. Notice how he was helpable, even if you didn't end up supposed to be going there, you didn't even have the choice.
Yep.
The thing that pros do really well is they don't always, like, the reason why they look like they're always doing the right thing is because they're just giving themselves the chance to capitalize whenever the enemy team does something. Like, they know what the enemy's potential is and all that kind of stuff, so the minute that it happens, they're ready to punish it. Okay, this is a good play. Okay.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
So you're gonna walk top.
Dire's
Okay.
top tower has fallen.
Let's fast forward here. You guys lack stuns, so I like the maxed ice path.
Radiant are scanning.
Yeah, your Jug shouldn't go there, but he is, so not much you can do about it.
Yeah, I was going to take that lane, but Jug shows up, so I'm just like, okay, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, that's because, yeah.
I mean, that is...
You are correct, so there's not much else to say. If he does that, you kind of just have to leave.
Dire's
So he goes bottom.
Yeah,
You should go immediately top.
Yeah.
Okay,
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
okay.
I saw the bristleback TP'd, so I didn't think he just TP'd back to his, like, I didn't think he would be there in time, basically.
Yeah. So, I don't actually hate that death, to be honest with you, like, in
Yeah.
terms of what caused it. But the one thing I want you to think about is the relevance of you having a TP based on who's going to be in the lane. So, like,
Yeah.
if you are a support and you're going to occupy the dead lane against a Necro, how important is a TP?
Not important,
Why?
because the Necro can just cancel it.
You'll just scythe kill you anyway. But, like,
Yeah.
if you're in the dead lane against a Bristleback, right? and-
Bristleback or a Bloodseeker or something.
Yeah, something like that. You can just say, "Oh shit," and TP away, right? Like,
Yeah.
so in that case, the reason why you'd walk to the tower rather than TP to it is not because of your team. It's because you're thinking, "I want to occupy the dead lane. I know I'm in danger. What endangers me? Who's gonna be there? Like, if a core, or even if it's a Viper, right? Like, it could be Viper, but it's like
Yeah.
out of their cores, is Alchemist gonna be there?
No.
Am I scared of a Pudge if it's just Pudge?
No.
Or a Crystal Maiden. I'm not just scared of those
No.
two. So, if I were to get ganked by Pudge Bristleback, is that an okay death if I got
Yeah,
two creep
totally.
waves? Okay, cool. So, that's the point. Is it's okay that you die here if you get like 2 or 3 man ganked. It's not okay to die solo to a Bristle when that could have been solved by a TP. So
Right.
that's the kind of stuff where, just remember, you definitely have to watch this one back because there's a lot of random things we're talking about with thought process here.
Dire's bottom tower.
You know where you know like what your role is. You're just like doing a lot of the little things incorrectly. So your team
Radiant structure.
casually tries to gank level 10 Crimson Guard Bristleback, or level 13, sorry. And this is what happens when your team plays around here.
Yeah.
Not much you
I
can do
was-
about that.
I was kind of upset that, like, my Juggernaut kept going this way.
Okay, so what's your guys' timing for killing this guy now?
Silver Edge.
Or
Super Urn.
Yeah.
Anyone
Okay.
here know what a dead lane is?
And that's what I told the Riki to go super
Yeah.
hard.
So I'm actually telling you guys, not this actually isn't for you. This is for Twitch chat. What did we talk about when you try to kill a hero like Bristle? You have to have a condition, an idea of how you fucking kill him. Like, this guy has a fucking Crimson Guard, and he's level 13. How the fuck are you gonna kill him? You know, like, so I'm talking to the cores here. Why the fuck are the cores here? I see this Bristleback here. If I see a Bristleback doing this shit, okay. So when Bristleback is telling me he's top, he's effectively telling me he's not somewhere else, right? I know that sounds really smartass, but he's effectively telling me he's not bottom or mid, right? If he's showing top. So,
right.
who is doing something similar to what Bristleback's doing right now, but not nearly as powerful?
On their team or
Yeah, on their team.
Viper.
Okay, so who should fucking die when this Bristleback's playing like this? Who should die?
Viper.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
we go to kill Viper.
yes, you
What the
this
fuck,
this
whatever
entire
the fuck it
play as 5 or 4 heroes should be on this guy. You shouldn't be a part of this, honestly. You should be top, walking there, ready to TP in to this.
Right. I should be like occupying the lane and then
Yes.
they kill.
So
Yeah.
my point is, if somebody like Bristleback, this unkillable hero, is in front of your face, if you can't kill him, then you have to go somewhere else. So my look at this is this Bristleback allowed to be playing this aggressive right now?
Yes.
Okay. Is he allowed to be playing this aggressive and they show their safe lane vulnerable carry in their lane like this?
No.
No. So then I say, if they're not allowed to do all of this, how do we punish it? And with heroes like Bristle or like Brood or something, usually it's indirect. Usually you go kill the person that's not allowed to show on their own. Like that's...
Yeah, we could take their safe lane tower
Yeah.
with our heroes.
By the way, for you to answer for all of Twitch chat, if you are behind and you have not taken a tower, which one are you taking?
Safe lane tower.
So where should your big play be made, if possible?
Bottom half of the map.
Okay. Wait, BSJ, are you telling me that if 4K players understood dead lane, they wouldn't be 4K? Yes, that is exactly what I'm telling you. Okay. I'm not. This isn't your fault, this one in particular, by the way. I'm flaming your cores for educational purposes. Okay. So, sadly, your Jug just loves being top. I don't understand 4K
Yeah.
players. So, honestly, there's really nothing you can do right now. You're supposed to be top while the rest of your 14 plays bottom, but there's nothing you can do. If they're not, like, you're not strong enough to contribute to a bottom play as 4 if you don't have your Jug.
Yeah.
So, I'm telling you as a support, this is something you just can't do anything about. If your Jug insists on never going bottom, there's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah.
It's just the harsh reality.
Dire's middle tower is under attack. Dire's middle tower has fallen.
So they overextend, luckily. They're very nice of them to do that. Okay. How many smokes have you bought?
0 at this
Okay.
point.
You guys should definitely have smokes on you, because plays have to be quick, and
Although
when
we do-
heroes are, like, Viper and Bristle, what kind of heroes are those? Like, are they gankers?
Those are like, I mean,
Are Viper and Bristle often going to be in the same lane?
no.
Okay.
Well, I mean, unless they're 5-man pushing.
Yeah, but are, like, the rest of the game, are they going to be in the same lane?
No.
Are they going to be walking down lanes or jungling?
Walking down lanes.
Okay, so you have to be able to get to them quick before they clear creep waves. Like, you have to, like, smokes are really important when the heroes are, like, walk down lane pressure heroes, because really good players will, like, push the lane in and then back off.
Yep. So we just
Oh.
smoke past the wave.
So the smoke makes it so that either you can run past the creep wave, or you get there fast enough
Yeah.
such that they can't get away after they clear the wave. Speed's
Yeah.
really important when they have these, like, show in lane heroes.
Radiant's bottom tower
Okay, so you're going to continue playing top, which I do believe is correct, but you have to be
Yeah.
very smart
I
about
got
it.
ganked by an alchemist.
Yeah, that was unexpected. Did it have blink? No radiance?
Yeah.
Okay,
Anyone
that's
here
weird.
know what a dead lane is?
So this is a spot where
I knew
So-
he had the blink, but I was like, okay,
So as a support, what's your purpose for being here?
to relieve pressure.
Okay, okay. So as the game goes on, in any role, does it become easier or more difficult to kill you?
Probably easier.
Okay,
as
it's
a
any
support.
role. Like even as a carry, things become easier to kill you. Like in 11
Yeah.
minutes, if I'm a life stealer with free farm, it's gonna take 4 or 5 heroes to kill me. At 25 minutes into the game, usually as a life stealer, even with free farm, like maybe 2 heroes can kill me. Like a combo of 2 heroes can kill me because at that
Yeah.
point they have more damage items. It's easier to build damage and disable than it is to build tankiness. Like it's just how it is. Like
Yeah.
eventually at some point it's going to become easier to kill you. So you're in the right place on the map, but it's easier to kill you. And you only see Viper. So what should be your approach to this lane?
I mean, I dual breath the wave and
Or you
Try
could
to
macro
leave, but-
pirate. That's up to you. My
Yeah.
point is you get you kill the way, like, are you farming these creeps?
no, I'm just pushing it out.
Yeah, your intent is not to farm these. Your intent is to push it out. So you push it out
Yeah.
and you get the fuck out. Like that, even that one little E, I would have honestly ulted this creep wave. Like just to tell
Yeah.
you, like, and like the difference between the ult and the dual breath is the cast range. That's like the only difference.
Yeah.
So one of them you have to walk up pretty point blank. The other one you can cast from super far away, and that's something where it's different for every hero. And you should learn like, oh, that was so close. I almost got away from that alk. What would have given me that little bit of space? And in this
Yeah,
case,
right.
it's macro pyre.
Yeah, that's the one thing I get. What I learned is when to macro pyre, when to dual breath.
But that's the thing about every hero, right? Is I can't teach you that stuff. That's the stuff that you can say, "Oh, I'm in the right place on the map. I'm doing the right thing. I thought I would live just dual breathing and Eing and backing off, but it didn't work. Why?" And then learn next time, right? That's the point. Is that like as long as you're in the right place doing the right thing, that's the stuff that you're now saying, like, I need to learn the difference between when to macro pyre or dual breath. That seems pretty simple in comparison to knowing where you're supposed to be and why. You know what I'm saying? So like,
Yeah.
I'll be playing these heroes that I'm not 100% familiar with, and I'll say on stream, I'm like, wow, I thought I'd live there, or like, wow, like I thought I could get away with that, and I couldn't. Like I'm like, oh, like that's because I'm like somewhere treading the line of what my limits on my hero are, and I don't exactly know them. So then I just die. Like that's what
And I
happens.
can macro pyre up here because, like, I mean, it's a pretty short cooldown, and if I'm on that side of the map and my team is nowhere near me, like, there's not going to be a fight. So, like, there's no.
Yeah, that's exactly. That's the point. Is if your job is to relieve pressure, then you need like. That's how you're determining whether or not you're allowed to ulti a creep wave.
Yeah.
Because you're like, if you think to yourself, "Wow, I'm using my ulti on a creep wave," like that's what an average player would think. But if you're saying, "Wow, my job is to relieve pressure, and the only way I can do it is ulting," then you don't even second guess it, right? Like you just walk up and ult. Like that's you know that's your job in the game right now, and you know it's the only way you can do it. Okay. So
Radiant's bottom tower is under
this is pretty good overall. So you're like meaning like the exchange for your team is pretty good.
Yeah, I was calling him to go because I saw everyone was TPing out.
Okay, yep, that was all good.
I think if my team was old. Okay, we do end up getting them.
The point I want to make is majorly the reason why you're having problems with wards. Do you know why?
We don't have map control right now.
Okay, so when you're behind heroes like Bristleback Viper, how's the only way to gain map control back from them?
Smoke inks.
Okay. So not only is it that you smoke gank them to kill them, but what do smoke ganks also help you do?
I can just smoke and ward.
Yeah. So why do you have ward problems?
Because I haven't been doing that.
Because you haven't been buying smokes, right? So
Yeah.
that's
I
why.
he could also place them undetected.
That's
too.
true, and you could give them to him and say, "Dude, we need wards. We need to place them." But I think it would just be better to be like, so when you're about to smoke gank as a support, obviously it's not relevant in this game because you didn't do it, but it's still relevant in terms of like we could theory craft for yourself. What are some important things you may think to yourself when you're looking to smoke gank?
Um.
Just
Well,
random
what's the-
points that come to mind.
the purpose of the smoke ink,
Okay, so like objective wise, are we trying to kill
Right.
somebody? Or are we trying to take a tower? Okay,
right? If we're killing someone, like what are we gonna do after we kill someone?
okay,
And then of course who should be leading in the smoke ink.
okay,
I think whether it's day or nighttime is important.
okay.
If I smoke ink, because if you're smoking at night, you should probably have a ward on you.
Okay,
you
so
can
you do
drop it.
watch my coaching sessions. Continue.
Yeah. Um,
Anything else?
and just where on the map you're smoking to, just
Okay.
so like what objectives, like what are you trying to do, and then what are you gonna do after?
The major thing is,
Successful.
on top of that, you missed, like, all the things you said were correct, but the major thing I think you missed was, what do we need to get it done? Do we need an item? Do we need,
Right.
like, do we need a blink dagger on our initiator? Do we need an ult? Like, do we need jug six? Like, who do I need with me? And what do we need to get it done? Like, say you're trying to get bottom tower, and you say, to get this tower, we need to kill this guy. Then you ask yourself, to kill this guy, what do we need? And then the second you get that, you go, right? Like, meaning if it's jug ulti, you say, hey, jug, like, so if I'm thinking to myself, I need jug ulti to kill this guy, and I'm debating smoking, what should my next 30 seconds look like? It should be me checking Jug's cooldown, saying, hey, Jug, after you
And
thinking...
telling my team like get ready for a smoke.
Yes, exactly. If
You don't
a
want to
support
TP.
tells me to TP somewhere to smoke with them in 20 seconds, that makes my life so easy. Like, I'm telling you, my life as a carry, like, when you play with top tier support players, they say that kind of shit. They'll be like, hey, man, like, we need to kill this guy with Omni. TP to me in 20 seconds, or, like,
Yeah.
or whatever the cooldown on Omni is. And, like, it's so easy. Am I saying your cores are always going to listen to you? No.
No.
But if you say that shit and the core listens to you, it's going to, like...
It's an easy game.
oh my god, easy game.
And I to be 100% honest, I think at this point in the game, I had forgotten that smokes had existed.
Okay.
And then at one point, I was like, "What do we need to do?" And I'm like, "Oh yeah, smokes are a thing."
Yeah, exactly.
Because eventually, I do start like smoke, like calling my team like smoking a bunch.
When you're under a lot of duress, you can forget about a lot of things. Like,
Yeah.
for instance, when I'm playing Pugna recently, like, that's my practice. And I've said my weakness as a player has felt like spellcasting on position-based ranged heroes. Like, because the problem is, I feel like my spellcasting's pretty good, but the minute that I am under threat from, like, 3 different sources, I basically panic about how I'm going to die. And because I'm
Yeah.
panicking about how I'm going to die, I don't push buttons correctly. It's the same idea, right? Like, you're under so much duress with all this other random crap that you're forgetting smoke ganks exist. It's like, when I'm under duress of all that crap, I'm just forgetting to use my life drain on somebody. Like, it's that simple, right? Like, I'm so scared of dying, I'm not doing offensive things correctly. And so, go ahead.
Yeah, I've noticed like when I play games, like when the game starts easy and it ends easy. Like I can play, like if basically we had a good start, I can like do the right things almost the entire way game through, and it's when like games are hard and like we have to come back somehow. Is sometimes like
What
when I forget to
a
do
game
certain
being
things.
hard means is that every little thing requires advanced knowledge of it, okay? So
Yeah.
it basically means that if you have that advanced knowledge, you're going to operate the same level of capacity that you would in a good game. If you don't have the advanced knowledge, then you're going to fuck up a lot because
Right.
like advanced knowledge means that you'll know what to do in every single circumstance, like for exact reasons. But if you don't have it, then the minute things get really awkward, things become rough, you basically crumble. So that's why players at the top tier, like, there's a difference between being able to play a hero pretty well and being able to play a hero at the professional level. Because at the professional level, you have to be prepared for pretty much anything that goes wrong. Like, I can just tell you from personal experience, if I'm playing Ursa, assuming the game's not unwinnable, I will be able to adjust to almost any situation that comes up. Because I've either been in it before, or I've seen something like it, and I can learn from it, right? Or, like, I can adjust. But, like, when I'm playing these other heroes that I'm not all that familiar with, the minute the game gets really fucking awkward, I just look like a potato. Like, I just look like an idiot. Like, I know I do. I look like I'm playing really bad. And that's just something where that's why I'm working on those types of heroes, right? So, the point is that this kind of situation, like, you're gonna mess up a lot of random stuff because of it. So this should be a smoke with, like...
Yeah.
This should look
we
like
talked about
is
this.
Jug pushing bottom, or... No, Sniper pushing bottom, and the 4 of you smoking. But that's never gonna happen if you don't buy this stuff.
At the moment, I had gold because I just bought the 4 staff.
Yeah.
So, yeah, this is when I realized, like, yeah, that needed to be a smoking.
Yeah, I got you.
Um,
And the smoke gang should have been happening at like 12 minutes, just to make
Yeah,
sure that you
I-
and everyone else like that's about how long ago it should have been happening.
Yeah.
Maybe even earlier. Okay. The nice thing about this tier is when you guys do all the shit you guys do, guess what they're doing? They're showing 3 heroes mid with 1 hero farming their side of the map and the other hero farming bottom.
Yeah.
And that's just fucking throwing.
Radiant's courier has been killed.
Okay. Okay. So you just killed 3 heroes. What does that allow you to do?
We probably could have gotten mid tower.
I don't even think you could get mid tower. I think you can fly yourself items and prepare for your next engagement.
Yeah, like get clarity. Or
I'd fly
more
myself.
clarity
Like
for
right
wards
now,
and
my
stuff.
courier would have a TP, 2 clarities, a ward, 2 sentries, and a smoke.
Yeah.
And what is that effectively doing?
It basically allows me to keep when they respawn, we can go and smoke gank.
It gives you an option to do something again. Exactly.
Yeah.
Do you have an option to do something again now by the time they're live?
ATM no.
No. So the way I look at it is, by the way, what's like your next objective if we understand Dota?
Probably Roshan's.
Is a concern of them taking it. Are you taking it? What will happen before you get Roche?
We will win a fight.
Or, objective wise.
We clear the mid tower.
Okay. So is Roche your objective?
Not right now.
No. So what are the options for
know
your
what a dead
objectives?
lane
You
is?
have to maybe be concerned about Roche because they might take it.
Right. So basically, we should be focusing on preventing them from taking Roche.
And what's your other 2 objectives possible that you would get before Roche?
Take the tier 1 towers.
What's easier to take, this or this?
Probably the tier 2 bot.
Okay,
honestly.
so what are the 2 objectives you're concerned about for your team?
Mid tier 1 and bot tier 2.
Okay, so with that in mind, what are the 3 objectives you have to focus on? This, this, and this.
Yes.
So where am I getting that here?
I should. We should basically be. That ward's useless.
Yeah, right? It's useless. It's completely useless. Like that. That's how you have to think about warding. What are our objectives? How do we take them? When you get these kind of kills, I ask myself, like you said, what can we do with the kills? Were you getting mid tower?
No.
Probably not, right? So
Yeah.
what's the next best thing if I can't get the tower right now?
Anyone here know what a dead lane is?
Establish like vision over.
Yeah,
that area,
setting
so we
up
would
to
go
get
and
it
fight, yeah.
later. Whether that means mana, health, wards, smoke, like that's
Yeah.
so
The
go ahead.
the reason why I dropped the ward at the time was just because I noticed that like there was consistently a hero pushing in that lane. So I was thinking just drop the ward so that way maybe we can catch them next time.
This lane should never be pushed in. Like
Yeah.
that's just your team fucking up, to be honest with you. And even you could push it out. That's the nice thing about playing Jakiro.
Yeah.
So my point is, this lane for you guys, that's their dead lane. This is your good lane. If they're playing here, they're just gonna die. Like they
Yeah.
should. They should just die. They shouldn't even be there in the first place. So that's how I think
Yeah.
about it. Okay, I understand your thought, but like, just make sure you hear me out there. Okay.
So I could fly out of smoke, but I didn't.
Oh, you did?
I
Okay,
did.
you actually flew yourself the right items. No TP.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay. It took a little while though. It should have been instant. So I
Yeah.
saw it happen to about 10 seconds after.
And I dropped that mid ward just to see like Pudge and
Yeah.
stuff and that kind of vision.
I got you. So that was actually pretty good.
Yeah.
That was a little slow, but it was pretty good.
And then I'm like, hey, we can probably catch someone farming.
Yeah. This is good because you saw bottom, you saw mid. Okay, get out.
And then we take
Oh.
the tower. Yeah. This was bad, but
Okay. Okay. Yeah,
And
just
then Joe's dead, and I'm like,
yeah.
okay.
I was thinking, just get out. When you see like, if you go for this kill because you see this and this, that means you're gonna get sandwiched like immediately,
Yeah.
right? Like, so that's kind of like why I was saying, get out. Nice
but
force.
they overextend.
Yeah,
so.
okay. So it ended up working out, but that's just 4K Dota. A little bit of chaos.
Yeah. And I took the mid tower, so or we took the mid tower.
So this ward should be where? Oh, my minimap's covered. I forget, dude. I mean, you can see
You had
it.
chat yelling at you for the entire.
I believe it. I
session.
believe it. God damn it! I always forget during coaching sessions. Where should this ward be?
Um,
You could see it just fine.
up by Roche.
Okay, good.
Dire are scanning.
I feel like if the sniper responded fast, so we could have killed that out.
Yeah, I mean, you could have. I don't really look at that stuff because, like, I'm mainly paying attention to what you could do better.
Yeah.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
So it's really important that you had a TP here, and you had
Yeah.
wards and sentries, and you should have flown the TP out. Because whose job is
Yeah.
it to counter push?
Mine.
Okay.
We called for racing them, and the puck ended up going back.
I think Puck can also defend, but main thing is it should be you should have the option to defend. Once again,
Yeah.
kind of like helping top. You don't have to help top in like 5 minutes into the game, but you have to be able to help top. Okay, so just classic 4K stuff. We're gonna be wrapping up the session in a second here.
I had a 2-hour book, didn't I?
Oh, do you?
I think so.
Is that what I... Oh, you do! Oh my gosh. Okay. Never mind. We got an hour and 15 minutes left. Good talk. That was honestly like, I'm like, did somebody cancel on me? Because I thought I had this like booked all the way through. Never mind. Fuck it. Okay, my bad. Moving on. You did absolutely. Okay, so... At this point, I know you end up winning, so I'm kind of curious to see how it happens. But usually, at this stage in the game, I just watch a throw, and that's about what happens. So, I know this game may go on, but for sake of coaching, let's move on to another game.
Okay. I purposely lost a game this morning, so I had another game.
Purposely lost, yeah, I do that
No,
all
I'm
the
just
time.
kidding.
I do that all the time. Like yesterday, I was giving the other team MMR. I was on my Smurf. I'm like, I could win this game, but I'm just not going to. I'm gonna miss every ability.
I literally queued into a ranked game this morning, hoping that I would lose, so I'd have something to talk about.
Nice, nice. That's wishful thinking.
Make sure it's right game. Yeah. Hold on. Gotta. This game didn't go very well.
Okay. Let's pull it up. Oh, that's not what I'm trying to pull up.
I think, and this game we had a problem with initiation as well as damage, but on my end, I think my positioning was bad in a couple fights.
So generally speaking, how many times in my coaching sessions have I said that the way somebody takes fights is the problem?
Anyone here know what a dead lane is?
Like,
Your turn to battle.
you mean like what's
Prepare for battle.
I'm not sure.
Okay, basically what I'm saying is fighting incorrectly is like saying I don't know how to run a mile when I can't even run 10 feet. You see the analogy here? Or no? Maybe that was too weird of an analogy. Basically saying, if you do all the other shit wrong that I've been talking about, I don't give a shit how you take fights.
But yeah, like mathematically, like
My point is the fights will come properly by virtue of simply playing Dota.
yeah. Well, it's so like a I guess a carry analogy. It's like it's hard to be worse. I think it was Ali 2000 that said this in like his coaching replays, where he said like it's hard to be worse than your opponents when you have like a whole item on them.
Yeah, that is exactly true, yes. Once again, you were a little slow to get out to lane, but it was better than last game. I think establishing ward control is quite important against a Pudge, probably Centaur. And you should know that. So the reason why you get hit by Pudge and run into them there is because you don't have a ward.
Yeah.
Same idea as last game. The ward should be somewhere around here, so you can see Pudge sitting behind. Didn't I say last game to have a ward here to see Pudge sitting behind these trees, see if he goes over here?
Yeah.
And didn't you just walk into an unfavorable engagement because you didn't see Pudge
Yeah.
right here? Like, you see what I'm going for here. Okay?
Yeah.
Yeah. So just making sure we're on the same page, moving on. So you do... can your Morphling lane without you here?
Probably.
1v2, Morphling can lane here?
No, he would get bullied. I
Okay,
think.
so how... are you allowed to leave?
Not yet.
Okay.
No.
Are you allowed to go pull? If you go pull, what will the next creep wave look like
If I pull, what would the next creep wave look like?
for Morphling?
I mean, Morphling will farm on this tower. Morphling doesn't like to farm on it.
No, so like if you were to pull right now, for instance, what would this look like?
Yeah, he would be taking a bunch of creeps on the tower, and they might.
He's
even
not
have-
getting these fucking creeps. Let's be very
Yeah.
clear. They're not going under tower. You're pulling right now. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, you're pulling right now, theoretically.
Yeah.
What would this creep wave look like? It's not going under his tower. He's just getting denied like 3 out of 4 creeps.
Yeah.
The reason why I'm asking you this, you may say, BSG, I'm not even pulling. Why are you fucking asking me this? Because I'll have supports in this situation just walk over and pull. And I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? I can't CS without you here.
Yeah.
So my point is to bring up the idea that you can't pull if you are helpful in lane and your carry needs you. If I'm a life stealer, do I care if you pull right now?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, that's why I like Jakiro a lot. I almost always like first pick him as a position 5 or like first phase pick him because like, I mean, he's strong in laning, either like as like, you know, the safe lane support or like the more aggressive support. He's got damage and power control. He just, and there's not a lot of hard counters. Like there's nothing bad I don't think can come from like.
Yeah, Jakiro in general has like, I think Jakiro's, if you're a player that's trying to get better overall at the position 5, like applying general concepts, I think Jakiro's the best hero.
Yeah.
He's a good laner. He has multiple options. He can go off lane with his, like as a support in the off lane. He can go support in the safe lane.
I mean, I don't necessarily like spamming heroes. I like playing a bunch, but I've been spamming Jakiro just because like there's no bad game to pick on.
Okay, so you watch my stream. When do I suggest spamming heroes? Why? There's two
Spamming
situations.
heroes to get better at the hero, specifically in the mechanics of the hero, like against in good matchups and in bad matchups.
Okay. That's one.
Um,
The other one, just to clarify, is if you spam one hero, that means how much of your mind power is being spent on focusing on making that playing that hero correctly.
I don't have to play the hero; I just have to play the game.
Yes, exactly. So that allows you to also focus on general concepts if you play one hero, right? So, like, when I'm trying to teach you all these support concepts, the warding, the smokes, the pull properly, how to lane support, like all the things I mentioned about lane supporting, literally everything I mentioned last game, I actually highly recommend playing one hero, because then you're just going to learn these things from the perspective of one hero, and the goal is once you learn those things from that hero's perspective, please, for the love of God, stop playing that hero almost altogether. Like, don't continue to spam that hero, because it's just how it is, right? Like, if you continue spamming that hero, suddenly you're going to be a hero spammer that only knows how to play one hero. But if you're practicing, like, a general concept, it'll help you a lot. So, the two things that went wrong, you walking into two heroes unfavorably and you getting hooked. Why did that happen?
I didn't have a ward back.
Okay. Otherwise, I think this lane's been played quite well, so I have nothing else to say right now.
The other hero I like to pick on the off game is just Warlock when I see it's just an aggressive dual lane with like a Spectre or something. Like, that's just like an easy lane to play.
Yeah, for sure. So.
And I do get it down eventually.
So. Why did you walk over here instead of be under tower with your Morphling?
It's better to give him the solo experience.
Okay, yeah, so that's correct. By the way, I'm highlighting that to make sure you were doing it for purpose reasons, like you're purposely doing it, and to tell chat, like if you're okay, when should you ever be in lane as a support?
When the carry needs me to zone.
When your carry needs you.
Offlaner. Yeah.
Period. If your carry needs you. That's the only reason you're ever in lane. So if the lane's under tower and you can give your carry solo XP, you're doing it. That's absolutely correct. So, this point we've gotten to correctly. What happens when the lane goes under tower? What did we talk about in terms of your game plan? We didn't say I need you to map out the next 25 minutes of this game, right? What do you need to be able to do? You need to be able to map out the next 30 seconds, give or take. Okay? You need to be able to talk about what you need to be doing, what your problems are, that kind of stuff. So, you've seen the wave come under tower, and you say, "Oh, this carry doesn't need me, so I'm backing off." So I've done, like, I'm now caught up to date. You know, I've done my homework. I'm keeping up with the schedule here. What's next? So for myself, okay, there's something in the background. I don't know what it is, but maybe you can't control it. So next thing is if my job's done here and I look at the timer, what are my options?
I could go see if the 2-minute rune is top.
Okay. Is that really efficient?
No.
Okay.
Usually what I like to do is find the offlaner and try to see if I can zone them out from like leeching the XP from under tower.
Okay. That's fine. So you saw Pudge mid, so you know you're actually allowed to go look for this guy. So the next step is, what's the lane gonna do after it's under tower like this?
It's gonna push.
Okay. So what should be your next significant action?
Flowing.
Okay. And what time do you have to be there?
44, 14, whatever it is.
Yeah, 43. Like, you should get the next pull. Should not be 2 pulls from now. It should be the next pull.
Yeah.
So you need to be at this small camp at 43. So we saw Pudge mid. You need to be at the small camp at 43. What does that give you the ability to do for the next 17 seconds?
Complete the pull.
You are not pulling right now. What does that give you to do in the next 17 seconds?
Oh, I can go find the offlaner.
Exactly, right? Like,
Or, like,
that's how Dota works. You literally say, what's the next thing I need to do? What factors influence me? I'm mentioning Pudge because he like kills you and stuff, right? So if Pudge was still top and your next pull was at 243, how would that affect your next 17 seconds?
I wouldn't try to walk over. I would just kind of wait.
You would like maybe tentatively give vision here just to see what's going on, but you're not going to like walk aggressively at the centaur, right? Like that's the point, okay? So that's like perfect decision making, like deciding whether or not how aggressive I'm going to be when I'm doing stuff. But the point is, because of undertowered, like a trigger in your mind should immediately be the lane is going to push. Like that should be something that immediately is triggered in your mind every time the wave goes under tower. So that's why I saw it. I'm like, oh man, he should know to pull next wave. What is he doing? And then you don't. So this is correct. And look, that right there. And then, based on your
if I was there, back over.
You see what I'm saying? Like the idea of do as much as you can in the meantime, go back, right?
Or go place the ward and like.
Either way, right? You just have to get back to that small camp at 43.
And then I think I wanted to pull, and then I realized I wasn't able to, so I just ended up stacking the large camp as the next best thing.
So that's a perfectly fine thing to do.
Yeah.
Like if you mess up or you miss something by a bit of efficiency, then you can immediately try to figure out how to get as much as you can anyways. And I'll tell you, this lack of pull is not even that bad because of this. Like, the creep wave's not pushing that much. Yeah. But this is one of those things where when your carry's level 3 and he has 2 creeps and the opponent's level 2 with a full wave, can your carry still function?
No.
Yeah, he can. He's got a level advantage.
Yeah.
If he's level 2 and the Centaur's level 2, that's a little different because suddenly they're both the same level and your carry has less creeps. Right? Yeah. So then you can't function. My point is... I
didn't really like my Morphling skill build this game. He ends up like maxing Adaptive Strike.
A lot of people are doing that, by the way. So this is good so far. So basically, I'll tell you if I see something wrong with it. But my point is, I actually don't mind that you missed this pull, but it could have been done. And now I hope to God you pull.
yeah, it just would have like taken the foresight of like I need to be there. Like
Yeah.
I think I realized that like the next thing I needed to do was pull.
Okay.
But like so like I pulled this way.
So this is good overall, but
Yeah.
like you said, it's the foresight thing. And what about the game gave you the foresight to pull?
I can't with like I can't really zone the centaur. I don't think that a Jakiro Morphling really threatens centaur that much.
You actually do, by the way. Like you could zone this guy with no pudge. But my point is, what I'm trying to say, make sure you're on the right track. The foresight that's given to you to pull is the fact that the wave's under tower.
Yeah.
That's the foresight. That tells you the lane's going to push. That is foresight. You're like, I see it under my tower. I know every single time the lane will push because it's under my tower. The nature of lane mechanics is they rubber band, right? Like if it goes under your tower and nothing's done, it's just going to shoot back to the other guy's tower. Like that's what it's going to do. So that should be what gives you the foresight to pull. And then you would have pulled the wave that Centaur just got instead of this one. And then basically what happens is, you know, your pull's just a wave late. And that's something that can be fixed later. Just a matter of maximizing your efficiency. So a little bit off on that, but that's okay. I don't mind mechanical mess-ups. You're just going to get better at that as you go. So you deny. Yeah, I would actually... This is a spot where... How do I explain this? Why may it be bad to pull right now? I'm going to give you a hint on the timer.
To pull this wave?
Yeah. What's your next significant obligation?
5-minute runes.
Okay. So where do you want to be at 5 minutes?
Their bounty rune if it's safe.
Okay. And if not,
like
where?
If Pudge is showing, I could, my bounty rune.
So what objective puts you closest to the bounty runes?
The top tier one.
Okay, sorry. What thing could you be doing that puts you closest to the bounty runes?
Like zoning them out.
Or pulling.
Yeah.
You see this? You could be pulling and you'll be right at the bounty runes.
Yeah.
So when do you want to pull?
I mean, pulling at 44 would probably be late if I'm trying to get their bounty rune, right?
Yeah. Wait, no, it wouldn't be late. That'd be fine.
Okay.
You get to the camp at like 4:46 and then you walk over. Do you see that?
Yeah, but
Okay.
it would like
So when should you pull?
44.
Okay. So what should you be doing now?
14. Zoning them.
Okay. Do you see this reasoning?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. This is you playing too passive as a support.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
Because if you zone first, what happens?
If I zone first, he doesn't do that.
Okay. That's actually the exact answer I was looking for, so...
I actually was so surprised the Centaur didn't get it.
Yeah.
I went to get mine because I thought the Morphling was going to get it, but he didn't.
Okay, so you have a Catapult wave. Your Morphling's 2 levels higher than Centaur. What should be happening?
We should be gearing up to put some pressure on the tower.
So what should not be happening?
I should not be pulling.
Why is it even more important that you don't pull this?
It's also Catapult Wave.
Yes, it's Catapult wave, and then you can... Oh, why didn't it go free camera? This is a Catapult wave, and you already have this.
Yeah.
So what influences your decision to pull? Ever. Like, in general.
If my carry... Or... I guess one, if my carry can't farm because it's too pushed up.
Okay.
2, the off... Like, it's better... I can't...
Okay, so to summarize what you're trying to say,
to.
I know where you're getting at. How much
Yeah.
you can help the lane is probably the second thing you were going to say, like, if I can actually influence the offlaner or not.
Right.
And
yeah.
secondly, lane equilibrium.
Yeah.
What's the lane doing right now?
It's pushing.
Do you want to push? Why or why not?
Yes. Yes, because we have a catapult wave, and I'm in
If your
Jakiro
Morphling's level
with
4 and the
fire.
Centaur's level 5, do you want to push?
No,
Okay, so why do you want to push?
because we have an advantage over the centaur.
And you have a catapult.
Yes.
Okay. Good talk. I'd flame the shit out of you if you're my support. My supports do this shit all the time. I was like, dude, I'm trying to fucking push and you're pulling my catapult wave. What are you doing? Luckily, it kind of backs off and you miss it.
Yeah.
But... So you should be up in this guy's face. What are you scared of if you're trying to push?
Pudge.
Okay, so what do you need in order to push this effectively?
A ward, so I can
Where?
see him. Either the cliff or just seeing.
I'd say the cliff. If you
Yeah,
get the
the
tower
cliff.
and you fuck up the centaur and that gets dewarded, was it worth it?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you realize how all of this requires foresight? Is it too
Yeah.
late at this point?
Yeah.
Okay. You needed to know at 4:10 when I told you when I paused the game. All the times I pause are like this. This is not an example because I'm rewinding, right? So like, I'm gonna literally go back to the part I'm talking about. This decision to pull should have been the time that all of this was thought about. Because
Yeah.
what was my question to you at this time in the game?
The 4-minute mark. Okay. It was.
What did I ask you?
What was the next most important thing that I needed to do?
Okay, exactly.
Which was the bounty runes.
Exactly. So when you have those moments in the game, and those moments are generally when there's nothing important for you to do. Like, you're just like, I don't feel like there's anything important to do right now. Like, that's kind of what you're thinking, right? So that's literally your thought is, I don't think there's much to do. I'm going to go pull.
Yeah, that was my thought process.
So-
well, I'm going to get bounty runes. I would just pull before that.
Yeah, so instead of thinking, I don't have much to do right now, I'm just going to go pull, it's, I don't have much to do right now, when do I have something to do? Like, it was the same thing at 226. When I told you to when I paused right here. And if you thought, what's the next thing I have to do? And you thinking it's pulling, then you're going to go walk up, hit the guy, you're going to be like, oh, I have 15 seconds, I'm going to go walk up and hit the guy and then go pull, right? Same idea here. Oh, next thing I'm going to do is bounty runes. Okay, then I'll want to pull before the bounty runes. Oh, then I don't want to pull until 30 seconds. So what's that mean for me? That I have 35 seconds until the pull. What does that mean for me?
That I could go dual breath this time.
Yeah, that you should just be randomly doing some shit in lane for the next 35 seconds. Like,
Yeah.
just something. If you wanted to go check the rune, that would maybe be okay too. Like, I'm just saying, like, in any game, just think you have 35 seconds to do anything minor that you deem impactful. Like, you're just like, what's the most impactful little thing I can do right now? So, just knowing that you have to be back at this pull camp at 4:43 or whatever. And the point is, by the way, sometimes you'll do this and then you'll get into some crazy fight top and then you won't be able to pull. Like, all I'm saying is, as long as you have that at the forefront of your mind and just random, like, if you know that your job is to pull and then you get in this random 2v2 engagement, the decision between getting in that 2v2 engagement and pursuing it further is based on what? Like, do I want to keep pressuring the 2v2 or do I want to back off to the pull? What decides that for me?
If we're stronger than them 2v2?
That matters. And I always think of it as, how much am I getting out of this? Do I 2v2ing them? And how much do I get out of it to pull? Like,
Right.
how much does each thing offer me? Like, is it worth, would I rather have my strength be used on this 2v2, or would I rather have it be getting experience in the pull camp? So a lot of that has to do with your strength level. So a lot of times how I think about it will be, I want to be in this lane if it's just Centaur, but the minute Pudge comes back, I'm going to go pull. That's like some sort of thought process like that I will have. I will always think like, my decision to do either will be based on who's here and what the circumstance is, and then I'll make the decision. Just like, I try to give myself what that circumstance is. Like, we're ahead in levels. If Pudge is here, I feel like at this point we can still fuck them anyway, to be honest with you, because your Morphling is much more farmed than their Centaur. 500, 600 gold.
Yeah.
So it's, or 500. So it's one of those where that's what guides my decision making. So I look at this ward that should have been placed like 4 or 5 minutes ago, and then all the things we talked about with these pulls and when to not pull. Okay. So you pull. Oh, we're gonna fast forward back to 6.
Right.
Oh, why is this fucking ward bugged?
Dire's middle tower is
Really?
under attack.
Whatever. We're just gonna have to stare at half the screen being blue for a bit. Okay. So this feels real bad that you don't have a fucking ward on their high ground, right? Like, look at how you're playing compared to how you would be playing.
Yeah, because I don't know where the punches are.
Yep. I mean, this is all because you didn't ward at 4.5 or whatever.
Yeah.
So, like, that time, by the way, at 410, if you had the ward on, you could have been spent warding. But otherwise, since you didn't have the ward, and, like, I think it would be reasonable that at 410 you then realized you want to do that. Like, it'd be really difficult for you to realize that at, like, 330. I think at 410 it was very realistic for you to think all these things through. So...
going up the ward while
yeah,
doing
so I could do, like, you go get the bounty and ward it, would be when it gets warded.
Yeah.
The point is, just notice how passive you end up playing despite the advantage you guys have.
Yeah.
And that's partially because, like, half the time if you hear me playing, if I have this advantage in lane, I can tell you as a carry player, I think I'm very good nowadays at pushing an advantage. I think whenever I get ahead in lane, I'm very good at it. Compared to, like there's a lot of parts of my game I know I'm trying to work on right now, and they need work, but in terms of extending advantages, I think that's something I'm quite good at. So carries in the high level, if they're good at that, they'll specifically tell you, like, don't fucking pull, you know, that kind of stuff. Like, push the tower, we need a ward. But if you can do it yourself, like, I think none of this has to do with your carry helping you, right? Like, it can be you saying, like, oh, wow, my carry's 2 levels ahead, he doesn't need me. Like, with this, and then, like, when your carry's ahead, what should your thought to yourself be when your carry's ahead?
If he's ahead and he doesn't need me, then I can go help another lane.
So, that is correct. That is... So, when I go for these questions, a lot of times I've noticed with players like yourself, you are doing a pretty good job of answering my questions today, but I feel like a lot of people, they think too specifically, okay? So, like, for example, what you just said was a specific answer rather than a general answer. And that's fine. Like, that is a correct, specific answer. But do you remember what I said about Bristleback last game? When he was strong, what did I ask you to think about?
His power spikes versus mine.
But also, what he does with
Right.
strength. Like, what did Bristleback do with strength, right? Like, that hero is just going to be tanky, he's going to pressure the lane in, and he's going to be hard to kill, and he's going to win trades. That's what that hero is going to do.
Yeah.
So what should you do when you've established an advantage for your carry hero? What should you think about?
So when my carry has an advantage, and the offlaner, so that means the offlaner is behind. And
Yeah,
what the
your
offlaner's
carry is a
gonna do-
level, maybe 2 levels, maybe just like you can usually tell when your carry is at an advantage.
Yeah.
What do you ask yourself?
How to make sure we keep the advantage.
What does your carry hero do with an advantage?
Okay. Yeah, I see.
You see, like, this train of thought that we're following.
Yeah.
So, if this lane was a Slark, what would your whole thought process be at 5 minutes in when your Slark's level 5 and the Centaur's level 3?
We could keep killing the centaur so Sword can get a faster.
We could
shadow
put a
blade.
lot of pressure on the Centaur,
Yeah.
and then at what point do I leave? Or what time do I have minimal presence in the lane?
20 is level 6.
Okay. Does Slark want to significantly pressure the tower for a long time?
No.
So when would be the only time potentially I would pressure the tower with a Slark?
After we killed him and he has Aqua.
And there's a Catapult.
Yeah.
So Slark is a hero that's perfectly content spending, just so you know exactly what I'm talking about. This is like, I'm not expecting you to understand this about cores now. I want you to realize this is how much about a core you need to understand to play support professionally, for instance, okay? Slark, when he gets level 6, he wants to spend the next 2 or 3 levels getting farther ahead of you. He doesn't actually want to generally pressure the tower all that much if he doesn't have to. He wants to spend the next 2 or 3 minutes or 2 or 3 levels being level 8 or 9 when you're level 6 and then or 5 and then killing the tower because
Right.
he's level 8 and 9 and
Because
you're,
he's just way
you know.
stronger.
Yeah.
Nothing
So
to his pushing power.
but if you're a Morphling type hero, he actually doesn't mind spending level 5 if he's ahead
Yep.
with an Aquila killing the tower and applying
Yeah.
a ton of pressure. Because if somebody comes, Morphling can just leave and you'll pull and then the lane will be reset. He gave like maybe a wave and a half of XP to the offlaner, but in exchange, Morphling does a ton of tower damage and all that shit. Okay?
Yeah.
And the lane will just be back to normal. And so my point is that level of knowledge should be needed for every core that you play with. Like,
Right.
if I have an Ursa, are we pressuring the tower in terms of
No.
killing it? How are we pressuring the tower if we are?
We kill the offlaners.
By virtue of applying
the
kill
Catapult.
threat,
Yeah.
right? By virtue of kill threat. So,
Same with like a life stealer.
yes, so it's like, exactly. So, like, if I have an Ursa and a Lifestealer and they're ahead in lane, when am I ever in lane? As a support.
When the offlaner's there, basically,
To do what?
to apply kill threat.
To kill them.
Yeah.
So, like, that's the point is, if I'm not killing them with an Ursa, am I there?
No.
No. Like, I'll be pulling or, like, heading mid or some shit, right? Like,
Yeah.
the point is, but, okay, so if I have an Ursa who's level 7 and the offlaner's level 5, okay?
Yep.
And the offlaner brings a support, what should be my thought process about that?
I should show up to that because we're probably stronger 2v2.
You should be saying, Raffle, what the fuck? They have 2 heroes in my level 7 Ursa's lane and fucking kill them. Right?
Yeah.
Like, exactly what you just said. Like, if your support, if your carry is much more powerful than their support,
Yeah.
is it beneficial? Is it more efficient or less efficient for you to be in the lane?
If they're more powerful than.
If your carry is more powerful than their offlaner, I might have said that wrong. Sorry. So say your carry is level 5 and their offlaner is level 3. Is it more efficient or less efficient for you to be in lane if the opponent has 2 heroes?
If they have 2 heroes, then it's more efficient.
It's more efficient, right? Because
Yeah.
your core is way stronger than them. So at this stage in the game, all supports are approximately equally weak, right? Like,
Right. So it's like a level 5 and a level 3 versus a level 3 or a level 4 and a level 3.
yes, exactly, right? So
Yeah.
if I told you, right, like that I'm this Ursa Slark hero and I said I don't really want you in my lane, and then suddenly 2 heroes show up in my face.
I should come back.
Okay. This is why when I'm on stream, I see it in chat a lot. Like, sometimes I'll rewatch my own streams just to see, like, what I look like to you guys, because I never really know what I look like in pubs, and I want to see reactions to stuff I say. And it's like, the reactions I'll see is, I'll be in lane and I'll say, I don't want you here anymore, leave. And then 2 heroes show up in my lane, and I'm like, dude, come back. And people are like, BSJ, you just totally got to leave. And I'm like,
Yeah.
but that was when there was 1 hero in my lane.
Right.
Like, and really good support players know that shit. They don't have to be told, oh, there's 2 heroes there. I can be impactful. Oh, like these like not professional level supports, they hear me say I don't want you in lane, and that means that's law. Like, that is
Yeah.
written down, in the Kree of Dota, that they are not allowed to be in my lane anymore. Like, that's what that means to them.
Right.
That should mean to them, in the given circumstances, I don't want you in my lane. That's what that should mean to them. So just to be very clear, my point is, in this stage, like, when you were at the 4-minute mark and you knew you had a lead, think to yourself what your hero does with, like, what your core does with it. Like, that's why I'm bringing this up. What does your core do with it? If you have a life stealer, he can pressure the tower with that catapult, but that's about it, right?
Yeah.
And then past that, you're no longer really pressuring the tower, unless what? When does Lifestealer pressure the tower? Not just on Catapult, but how? By virtue of what?
We killed them.
Okay,
Or they're not
so
going
should
to.
you help when should you help your Lifestealer pressure the tower?
When they're not on the lane, or we kill them.
I'm saying when you can represent kill threat on them. So say it's an
Right.
off lane Wind Ranger, and you're a Jakiro Lifestealer. Are you pressuring the tower?
No, because the Wind Rider can.
You'd
like,
rather zone the
Yeah.
Wind Ranger, give your Lifestealer like a 3-level advantage, and then maybe
Right.
pressure the tower, right? Like,
Yeah.
but if it's Lifestealer versus a hero like a Strength offlaner that he just shreds, like an Underlord or a Centaur or something like that,
Yeah.
should you be pressuring the tower even if Lifestealer isn't a tower pressuring hero?
Yes.
Yes, because you
we're
can
so
kill
strong
them,
right now.
right? Like, you can fucking kill them. So, it's like one of those things where if you think about a hero's condition for doing something, not only like how they want to do it, but what their condition for doing it is,
Yeah.
then that helps you. So it's like if you're an Ursa and you see your Ursa's level 5 and their offlaner's level 6, Ursa's never pressuring the tower because he has to be able to kill the guy
Right.
to pressure the tower, and the guy's got a level advantage on him. So it's just
So
like,
I left this just because Morphlene's 2 levels ahead of Centaur, and I knew that like a Centaur at this point wouldn't be able to stop Morphling from farming.
and that's fine. So my point to you
And then
is,
the budget.
what's the one thing we see wrong with this entire lane before you leave it? It's all what should have happened earlier. It's this ward right here.
Yeah.
So it's like, what I see about this is I'm fine with you leaving, but it's this ward that should have been here,
Yeah.
and
make sense?
you also should have applied a lot more tower pressure before leaving. At this
Yeah.
point, it's no longer correct to say, oh, we should have done it earlier, let's do it now. It's...
Yeah, because like,
Go ahead.
okay, so if we basically got the tower HP to like half health when we were supposed to pressure it, then I can leave and the Morphling could probably take the tower on his own.
Yeah.
By virtue of pushing out the wave and pressuring the tower.
That is exactly correct, yes. So, I'm fine with what you're doing now. Even if there's 2 heroes in Morphling's lane, I would think to myself, I'm already TP'd here, and I would rather be helping this core than top. I don't know what exactly happened there. Let me rewind.
There was a Disruptor alone in the lane, and then I got glimpsed back onto the Ursa. That must have been like hiding in the trees or some shit.
That was really... Okay, so, this is a spot where I think this is once again determined by not having a ward.
Yeah,
Like-
I could have placed the ward earlier.
Yeah, like this ward should be somewhere down here. And I don't think this ward really does anything. Why? What does this ward do?
I don't think I placed that one.
Oh, did you not?
No, I don't think I placed that one. I just dewarded up there.
Your Undying placed it. Okay, so let's talk about, for sake of learning rather than flaming, what is this ward good for? Like, not in this game specifically, but when is it good?
Defending that tower if they're making a concentrated effort to push
Okay.
the tower.
So, God, dude, it's so nice to flame people like in an educational manner. Okay, so when does that tower get pressured in general?
With their Ursa when they kill the offlane.
Okay, so that's this game
Yeah.
in general. When does that tower get pressured?
Convenience with the catapult wave or
What did we talk about with your Morphling Centaur thing here?
like in
What about
general,
Morphling versus Centaur allowed you to pressure the tower?
if we killed them. And then
If Morphling's what? Stronger than Centaur.
if Morphling stronger than Centaur,
Okay.
yeah.
So when does this tower get pressured?
When Ursa's stronger than
Okay.
our offlane.
So, yes, Necro is underleveled in comparison.
Yeah.
But the way I look at it is, how often, in your opinion, is Necro going to be under his tower?
Not too often.
Why not?
Because Necro likes to
Necro
constantly push the wave.
literally pushes the wave as a
Yeah, he
hero.
likes to
That's what he does. So,
Yeah.
in retrospect, how often will this be under pressure?
Not
Even if
very
Necro...
often.
Unless Necro has fed 4 times. Maybe he has. Twice. That's not 4 times. Unless Necro has fed relentlessly and this lane's just fucking over. This lane's just not going to be under pressure. So that's
Yeah.
why for Undying, this ward's really bad, right?
Yeah.
So if you guys are looking to pressure, which is what Necro does, wards should all be... Like, if you watch the Zai game, the ward's right here.
Yeah.
Right? So, like, my point is, as long as we understand the purpose for each ward, and then understanding how the lane's going to play out, you won't, like, as a support, you did it last game, later on in the game, and your Undying did it this game.
Yeah.
So let's fast forward.
Yeah, so this one.
That was just unfortunate. I mean, other than
Yeah,
directly
I
placing the
don't
ward, I
know
don't think there's
what
much
happened.
else you can do.
Why is there like I don't know. Where was he hiding? I'm curious.
I think he was at the small
trees.
camp, probably, and then you
No,
got...
but I mean, I walked up.
No, I'm saying you walked over, and then you walked to here, and then he started walking over, and then you got glimpsed, is what I'm saying. Almost certainly
Yeah,
happened.
but I didn't see him at the small camp, so it was just like perfect timing.
Yeah. He was shrining, and then, yeah.
Yeah,
He had phase boots delivered to him right then and there as well.
yeah.
Okay. So at this point, do we like to pressure weak or strong cores?
Dire's middle tower is under attack. Radiant's
I feel
top
like
tower
the
is under attack.
Ursa's the most problematic hero in the game right now, right?
Do we like to pressure weak or strong cores?
Pressure strong.
Do we like to pressure weak or strong cores?
Okay, weak.
Okay. So so the way I look at it is if a hero's strong, you're not really ever pressuring them unless
Yeah.
you're like a direct counter. So
Yeah.
like that's as a support, that's not really how it goes. Like you're never like a direct counter really to a hero. Like
Yeah.
if a hero's strong, the reason why they're strong is because usually you can't do much to them. So the way I look at it is if Ursa's strong, remember what we said about supports earlier on. If Ursa's strong, do you want to have a numbers advantage or an equal number of heroes against the Ursa?
Numbers of it.
Okay. So Pudge was nice enough to oblige and just go top on his own. But
Yeah, but it.
what's the best way then to get to this Ursa, if you think about it?
To get to him.
Like, if you want to pressure the Ursa, can you do it if it's 3v3 or 2v2?
3v3. Or sorry, 3v2.
It has to be 3v2. It can't be 2v2, it can't be 3v3, it can't be 1v1.
Yeah.
So how do you force it to be 3v2?
I could smoke into his lane.
How do you force it to be 3v2? I'm trying to... I know I'm being...
Okay, so how would I... Basically, how would I force one of the supports away from the lane?
Yeah.
So in my case, it's pressure the off lane to where one of the supports feels obliged to go help. the
Yeah,
off
so
lane.
what's the general concept, though? I asked you about strong and weak cores. How do you force the supports away from a strong core?
Pressure the weak core so that way they feel obliged to help.
Oh, yes.
And then
So
I
in this
go-
case, who is it?
It's the centaur.
Okay, so in this case, your play I actually like right here because Pudge is top. But Pudge should have been forced there by you in the first place.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you see what I'm saying? Okay.
Yeah.
So, we got there. Okay. You've been doing pretty well with questions, so I'm kind of just being a little, brutal to you about the questions. So, that's what I'm trying to say is think about it that way. If we have an equal number of heroes, do we want to be in this lane? If we can't be in this lane against an equal number of heroes, then we need to force them to not have an equal
Right.
number of heroes. Like, that's what we
Right.
need to force. In this case, being 3v2 against Disruptor Ursa is actually very good use of your time. Because even though it's 3v2, if it's 2v2 or less, Ursa is having a good time.
Yes.
And we don't want him to have a good time. But if we know that 2v2 is him still having a good time, then we can't just walk into the lane casually and present a 2v2. Like, that's the thing I'm trying to point out here. Okay. So this should overall be pretty good, as long as your Morphling is Undying. I guess your Undying is on some shit. Okay, you definitely way overvalue Wand. Way overvalue it. Windlace is way more important in this game. Same with the other
I already
game.
have Tranquilos, but
What?
I already have Tranquilos.
Like another Windlace.
Another one, Lace?
Yeah, look at their heroes. Pudge, Ursa, Centaur. Wouldn't you rather have 25 moves or 20 move speed than 3 all stats?
Yeah.
Is 3 all stats gonna prevent you from fucking dying to Pudge, Ursa, Centaur? Like you're just way over.
Because I knew we were about to.
The stick is fine. The wand is not fine. That is what I'm trying to say. Like, this is something that very commonly I used to do, that players in your bracket tend to just love to do. I bought this stick, so I guess my next item is going to be a wand.
Yeah.
Why do I, a lot of games, upgrade Shadow Blade to Silver Edge?
Because of the break.
Ignore break. Why else would I upgrade Shadow Blade to Silver Edge? Say 40 minutes into the game.
Stats?
Because I don't have any more fucking slots.
Yeah.
So why should I upgrade my stick to a wand as a support?
Because I don't have any slots.
Okay.
I have slots.
Okay. So we get the kill on Ursa. Like I said, I liked this play before it even happened. Meaning, like, I could tell it was good. Because we know we want the 3v2 versus Ursa. And by the way, if I see at 11 minutes into the game my fucking support flying out the courier for a wand recipe, I'm going to lose my shit. I'm just being very clear about that.
Yeah.
That is not acceptable.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on. I like this play. You rotate to bottom to help kill, and then
Yeah.
you take mid. This is really good.
Well, because like my Viper should have won.
Yeah, no. So this is really good. This is. I'm being clear. This is. Yeah, that is good reasoning as well. A lot of supports don't do this, so this is good. Now, that's an understanding of you're in the right place, but how far are you allowed to play up against a level 10 DK when you're level 5, right? You should be playing like a little bitch in this lane.
Yeah.
And I really wish instead of a full stick, you had Tranquils and a ward.
Yeah.
You know, like that. Right place,
Yeah.
wrong execution. Okay?
Yep.
That's the emphasis I want to be making. So the first step is being in the right place. The second step is the more intricate and in-depth understanding of what to do when you're actually there. So far I've noticed you're doing a pretty decent job of being in the right place. It's just the execution of how you got there or what you're doing when you're there. Remember, I liked you being bottom,
Yep.
but it should have been in virtue of this guy getting forced to be helped and then going bottom.
Right.
Like, really good support players do that all the time. They're very good at it. Like, very good at it. They'll force someone to TP away from somewhere. Like, they'll pressure a lot this lane, force, like, this, like, say it's dual lanes, right? So they force this support to rotate, and then they'll immediately go here. Like,
Yep.
and it's just really good, because then that forces a 2v1 here. And that's their thought. We're going to apply a ton of pressure here. We're going to make the enemy bring more resources than us, so then we'll bring more resources to somewhere else because we're already stronger in the lane they just brought resources to. Okay, so once again, it looks like we're kind of running into this issue of no wards, and that's by virtue of, honestly,
Yeah.
okay. I'm curious. So we're going to put a little bit of a tough question on you. From BSJ's perspective, and obviously in this stream, that's correct. You know, maybe it's wrong, but in my opinion, it's correct. And so for the sake of this coaching session, since you're paying me for my knowledge, we're going to assume it's correct. If you had to put yourself in my mind as best as you could, look back at this entire game,
Yep.
why are you having warding issues? One play. One decision, one lack of a decision, one play this entire game. What is causing you to have warding issues?
I would say I didn't place that first ward like right at the beginning when I walked into the centaur and the pudge.
That matters, but not the most significant. You're on the right track, though.
I didn't have so like before I couldn't ward the top cliff because I hadn't had the ward in my inventory, and when I TP'd mid I didn't have a ward in my inventory, so I couldn't place that ward to see the disruptor.
Okay,
Ward in.
so let's think about this. Map control works like this, okay? When you get it, it's quite, like, it takes something happening to lose it.
Right.
Okay? So the minute you lose it, it takes something happening to get it, right? So we've now lost map control.
Right.
And
Yeah.
the way you lose map control is by not applying strength where you can
Yeah.
at any point in the game. Like, if you had the power to do something and you just didn't. Okay? That's just how power spikes in Dota work. If you let somebody get something while they're weak, they're going to be stronger than you eventually. Like, that's just how it is. So, if you had to note one point in this game where you had strength and did not apply it, where was it?
Top lane at the beginning.
At what minute?
Specifically, like 4 or 5 minute mark.
Yeah, 5-minute mark. So, here's how I envision this game if you're a 5-position support and you just fucking crush it. So I'd say up until about 4 minutes, other than the ward, you played it pretty damn well. That ward cost you 1 death and 1 inefficient trade, and otherwise I think the lane top went pretty good.
Yeah.
So
even that death went 1 for 1.
Yeah. And so what happens is... Yeah, I did. You're actually right. So then you have this advantage. So that's the first step in this patch and every patch, is establishing an advantage. So the second step is getting this advantage, or using this advantage. Sorry, using it. So by not using the advantage, you don't apply any pressure top. So how many heroes on their team went top at any point between 5 and 12?
They had the Pudge in the Centaur, but the Pudge didn't.
Pudge ganked once, but was he ever forced to go there?
No.
No. Shouldn't the enemy team be forced to respond to your strength?
Yeah.
Okay. So I've flamed this player before, and I don't want this to come off as flame to him. It's just a perfect example. He's actually gotten a lot better at it. It's pretty impressive. Let me pull up my replays. We were Radiant. Is it? No. I'm gonna find it. I might have to scroll through. Oh, I know what I can do to find it. I remember what hero I was playing.
So the answer to that question of why I was losing the ward battle is because I didn't force my strengths when I was stronger.
Yeah, so what I'm trying to say is you lose map control if you don't apply strength when you have it, okay?
Right.
So you've had struggle with map control for the last 8 minutes because you gave it up at 5.
Yeah.
Is what I'm saying. Like, you if you think about it, you effectively threw map control at 5 minutes. Like, that's how I'm trying to look at it for you. If suddenly they're forced to leave Ursa to fend for himself, and then you just go to the Ursa, they've now lost 2 lanes.
Yep.
But instead, they didn't really lose top that badly because Centaur didn't lose anything, and you can't pressure the Ursa, so you effectively lost 2 lanes.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go to 7.5, the first example. So Gunnar crushes his lane. He's gotten way better at this. I've actually played against him recently, and I'm very impressed. So I don't want this to come off as a Gunnar flaming session, because he's actually gotten... I literally called him to the side on stream, like I muted myself to talk to him about this, and I gave him a 10-minute talk saying, dude, this would improve your game so much, and I've actually seen it. Okay, you know what? Fuck it. Okay, I'm going to show you how important this idea of pressure is in one player's case, okay? And I'm going to show you how drastic it in fact impacts the game. So I'm going to show you the before and after transformation of Gunnar. Are you ready? Okay.
Sure.
So he crushes this lane. We're going to fast forward to 7.5. With his advantage,
He goes to jungle.
he
instead of,
jungles.
like, yeah.
He's crushing this lane. Look at Ember's K to D. What do you think Ember's going to do if he's not forced to be mid?
He's gonna either gank or jungle, but
Okay.
Jungle.
Dire's middle tower is under attack. Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Ganks once.
Yep.
Gets the regen rune when he's this far behind, by the way. He's already ganked a lot. He's going to very minimally defend mid. Should he even been allowed to participate in this top, by the way? He shouldn't be allowed to.
No.
He should lose his fucking tower if he participates in that fight top.
Yeah, and he shouldn't have gotten that creep wave either. That's
Okay.
what he did.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Nah.
This Ember lost his lane, by the way.
Yeah.
Okay? We're seeing this. You're seeing it, okay? That's Gunnar before he fixed this, okay? Let's watch Gunnar after I talk to him about this, okay? I need to find the game. Let me think. I lost to him, and he was... Was it on my Smurf? Oh, I think it was on my Smurf. I'm willing to go a little bit over. We're just gonna make sure we get this because this is the most drastic. I was like, wow, that was really good. Let me I'm gonna. I don't care if you see my. You can't see the password anyway. They can't see it, but you can see all this. Okay, so let's find it real quick. This should take a minute. We lost that game because he didn't apply pressure mid. I am not saying that to shift blame. I'm saying that completely objectively after I'm no longer frustrated about that game. I was Pugna and I lost to a mid. Here it is. Cool. So we saw the difference there, right? When he had an advantage, we saw what he did with it. He just jungled a bunch and farmed. Let's watch this game. You might see a bit of a difference. We're going to fast forward to like 6-7 minutes in. Let's see here. Let's wait for it. So he's dominating his lane, dies me. Okay, that's good. Ganks.
Yep.
Gets the bounty.
Yeah, because Ember's not a tower pushing hero, so.
Yeah. Dominates the lane, says you can't even walk up. Let's see what happens if I try to go back mid. Right? He's pushing the lane with Treads Aquila. Last time I played Ember with him before this game, he went fucking bots, okay? Now he's going Treads Aquila. This is why you go Treads Aquila on Ember, not bots. So then he's pushing in the mid lane consistently. Every time he's here, he's pushing it in. I'm defending. Look what he's doing to me.
He dies, yeah.
Like, is he killing me?
No, he's just forcing
Is this
you away
pressure,
from the
right?
tower.
Like, look at this. What am I supposed to fucking do? I'm just losing my mid tower.
I've seen this especially because of the 2v2, the dual lane meta. Like, if you get an advantage in the mid lane, you can just stand between the 2-1 and the 2-2
Yeah.
a lot of times. Because, like, if they rotate away from the dual lane, that means they're going to be losing that dual lane for basically as long as they're gone.
In the other game, I know Ember is a much more survivable hero than SF.
Right.
But the fact was, he was crushing his lane as
Yeah.
Ember, okay? Or as SF in the other game. His choice that game was to hit neutrals. Have you watched the difference in this game, right? Like, and he ends up just fucking carrying the shit out of this game. Like, it's just how it is. You apply, when you get an advantage, you draw a line saying, they're not allowed to fucking do this. Like, we're going to force them to defend their tower. We're going to force them to react to what we're doing. And as a 5-position hero, you're not the one doing what he's doing, but you're enabling him to do it however you best can, right? Like, so in your game, you gave him an advantage on the Morphling. You actually did a good job overall. I'd say, like, a better than a 4K job overall. Let me, sorry, I have to go to my phone. So, that's not going to be valid in 10 minutes anyway, so don't even try something. Okay,
it's
so...
like 15 seconds.
Yeah, whatever, 15 seconds. So, my thing is, that, like, he should think to himself, and, like, when you have the strength, make them deal with you. Make them, like, respond to your heroes. Like, what are they trying to get done on the map? Like, that Ember, he just ran around, he's like, I know Pugna's gonna want to play mid and defend it, he has nowhere else to go right now. And what is he probably thinking about, like, in relevance to me? What if I don't go mid? What are his options? If I'm the Pugna, what are his options if I don't go mid?
He can gank.
He can either counterplay me or just kill my tower.
Right.
Based on his hero, what's he probably going to do?
He's going to try to counter you.
Yeah, he's going to counterplay me, so wherever I go, he's going to show up, right?
Yeah.
The thing I told him in the conversation, long story short, was he played Ember against me and I was a PL. Who counters who?
Ember counters PL.
Okay. So in the mid game, where should he be playing?
He should wherever you are.
Okay. And if you watch the game that I was referring to, he wasn't doing that.
Yeah,
and
he counters you, so he should make your wife.
I can tell you, in the PL game I was talking about, I won the game because he didn't follow me around. I got 6 slotted by like 35 minutes, and it was all because he didn't follow me around. In that Pugna game, If I asked myself what I didn't want in my face, it would be an Ember the entire fucking game. He was in my face the entire fucking game, and I had no game. I was very impressed. I'm like, I literally told the guy, I'm like, I know you're really good, like mechanically, and I know you're good enough to understand this game at this level. Just do this. And I'm like, I'm not some hot shit. Like, this is something somebody else taught me. I'm like, clearly nobody's given them this, like, 5-minute talk. Like, a lot of my, like, this deadline concept and shit, it all began with somebody talking to me about it for a minute or 10 minutes. It didn't come with me getting lectured by these players for hours on end, right? It's just me, like, every little subject I'm giving you in this session, I'm being very clear. Like, when I got taught the deadline concept, I turned that into months, honestly.
You've made like 5 30-minute long videos.
Yeah, it's turned into months of studying for me after it got brought to my attention. I'm giving you these questions and concepts. Each one individually can be turned into hours of improvement as well as like understanding and studying and stuff. Like you can literally watch other players for this sake. You can like make sure you're paying attention to it in your games. That's the point of these coaching sessions, and that's what I learned as a player.
Personally, when you said like pressure the weak core so that way you can lure the supports away so you can pressure the strong core is probably like the most like mind-blowing thing.
Yeah, right? Like, think about it that way. Like, now from then on, when you're thinking, I want to pressure the strong Ursa hero,
right,
you're going to think, well, I can't just do it directly, so I'm going to go fuck with top first and then go, right?
Right.
And if you realize that, your decision-making is going to be real fucking quick. It's going to be go top, force somebody there, you know why you forced them there, go bottom.
Yeah, and the Pudge left anyway for some reason, but I could have made a play that would have forced him whether he wanted to or not.
Exactly, and that's why I said it ended up working out. Did you notice the play that worked, though? It was the 3v2, and that's a situation I said was good for you. The other team should not give you that situation unless you make it happen.
Yep.
That's the point. So now we're suddenly in this awkward spot. So when you have no map control, why is smoking to ward so important?
Well, because wards give you back map control.
But, like, why is it not good enough to just ward?
Because they have map control, which means that the supports are good players. They already have wards down, which means if we're not smoked, they can see whatever wards.
Okay, there you go.
And then like they'll just deward it.
I don't think I have to talk to you anymore about that. That's why smoking when you're behind is like so important. And I mean when you're ahead too to force advantages. But like when you're ahead, are you going to control 100% of the map?
No.
No, you're going to control most of it. So when do you smoke? If you're ahead.
To get control of the part you don't have? Or
yeah.
Yeah. To go from like 75% control to 100%.
Have you ever watched a high-level streamer, and heard him say, "Why the fuck are we smoking?"
Yeah.
Because it'll be where we've been dominating this lane the entire time. We have a ward here, and the teammates will smoke to here. What the fuck does that do? Can't you just walk?
Yeah.
Like, what? How does the other team possibly have control there? You know what I mean? Like, they're not going to see it, so why would you smoke? So that's one of those things where it's like, you might smoke during the day so the guy can't see you coming, but if it's nighttime and you have a ward here and you've been controlling this map the entire time, why the hell would you ever smoke there? You just walk. Yeah. So, like, that's what I mean is, like, you smoke to areas you don't control if you're ahead. Because you don't control the entire map even if you're ahead. So if you're like, I'm ahead and I don't control top, you can say, let's smoke the top and just fucking kill them and get control of this area too. Okay. I actually missed what led up to that because I was busy talking. So we get a kill on Disruptor. Morphling died top. The Morphling. So my Morphling died in the dead lane. What's the concept of why he's wrong top? What does a carry need to understand about the dead lane concept?
The reason why it's a dead lane is because that top tier 1 doesn't do much in terms of objectives.
Why? Yeah, that's true. Okay, go ahead. Continue. That is true.
And then there's much more points of attack that they can gain from.
Okay. So overall, that lane's just more vulnerable.
Right.
So what did we talk about over the course of the game about being killed? Is it easier or more difficult to kill you as the game goes on?
It gets easier as the game
Okay,
goes
so
on.
what's a carry's single understanding required about occupying the dead lane?
How can they kill me?
At what point can they kill me?
Yeah. And
So why do
this is
heroes
in my
like
opinion,
Lifestealer tend to stay in the safe lane longer than a hero like Drow?
because Lifestealer is super survivable.
So he survives longer into the game than a Drow.
Right.
Does that mean Lifestealer is supposed to play there until 25 minutes?
No.
When is Lifestealer supposed to leave?
Well, if he's going Radiance, basically stay in there until you have Radiance and then show up in wherever the carry is.
Okay. As long as he can.
Yeah.
Literally as long as they are able to stay there. If you want
Right.
to understand that part better, because it'll help you understand dead lane as a support,
Yeah.
watch this game from my perspective. I'll just give you the replay. You don't have to watch it, but if that's something you feel like you want to expand your knowledge upon, I'm just giving you the link. Watch how my understanding of my role in this game applies to my items and the way I play. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm not going to waste the rest of your coaching session.
Right.
I got about 10 minutes, so just something to look at if you want to expand your knowledge of that. So they dive your Undying with a Tombstone, and you have Viper Necro and they're diving. Okay.
Yeah.
That's about sums that up. What's the only way to die to Viper Necro when you're ahead? Viper and Necro Undying. How do you die when you're ahead? Question for you.
You overdive.
Oh, you
basically,
dive.
because like
You
'cause,
die.
like,
You dive them.
yeah, because
You just overextend.
Undying and Necro are deceptive.
So what's the way to deal with heroes like Necro, Viper, Undying when you're ahead?
Stick strictly to objectives and like choke them out, basically.
What do those heroes lack? Is a better thing. Name a couple things that 3-hero combo lacks. Even Jakiro thrown in there.
They lack catch.
Absolutely. Catch and mobility.
Yeah.
So how do you punish that?
Just play keep away, basically.
And you force them to separate at some point. If you
Yeah.
run around the map and continuously apply pressure at random points and they're forced to react to it, eventually they're going to separate and fucking die. Like, that's
Yeah.
eventually, like, are these heroes that scary when they're on their own?
No.
Are they scary if you run into 4 of them?
Yes.
Okay. That's just talking about, like, when you're ahead, not only is it important to understand how your hero operates, but it's also important to understand how the enemy team comes back. If they come back, if they have Lion Slark, how should you play it? If you're
They have
ahead.
Lion Spark. And they're ahead.
If you're ahead and they have Lion Slark, how should you play it?
Just group up as 5.
Yeah, just group up and march down a fucking lane.
Yeah.
Kill all their buildings. And then, like, in 15 minutes, if they have no fucking buildings, who cares if they can pick you off? They have no fucking buildings.
Right.
But, like, against this lineup, their way of forcing the advantage should not be by just marching down lanes and diving you.
Radiant's middle tower is under
So like, what do we do in this? Because we're behind right now.
Yes.
But, like, we're basically like a 4 protect 1.
Yeah.
With-
So what
and
you need to do is...
I feel like we are playing.
Okay,
this
so
right.
when you're behind and you have a hero like Morphling, where is he going to play if he's any good?
He's gonna play wherever we're not. Well, I mean, he's gonna try to avoid the enemy team and
Okay.
push and farm.
So what does that mean? Where's he going to play?
He should be playing in.
If the opponent team is playing it properly and they're ahead and they're radiant, what are their core objectives? All this ties in the dead lane concept every single time, by the way.
They should be
Look at their lineup. Where are they going to play if they're good?
top half of the map.
Why?
Because they like
What do their
We're
heroes
more-
do with an advantage?
they can like blink on us and kill us.
And anything else? That's true. You
They can take towers with BK.
Okay, and what else?
Take Roche. Oh
Okay.
yeah, with those.
Okay, so what side of the map are they going to play?
Top half.
Top half.
Yep.
Because they have an Ursa. So
Yeah.
they can apply tower pressure and Roche pressure, right?
Yeah.
So if they have a really tanky hero that can't really kill towers but doesn't die, where are they going to apply their strength in a given game? If they have a really tanky hero that doesn't really kill towers but doesn't die,
So he would stop the Morphling.
from
Like,
he would prevent tier 1 from ever dying, right? That's
Right.
how they would play it. So his strength would be applied bottom.
Right.
That's okay. We're seeing it, right? Like, you can understand where they're supposed to play
Right.
based on what their heroes are. So you said your Morphling's going to avoid fights. So where is he going to play this game?
Bottom half of the map.
Okay. So if he's going to play bottom half of the map, does he want you to play with him?
No.
So what might you do to help him play by himself?
Ward, so that way you can see
Okay.
people like keeping in the shrine
So is this a part of the map you look like you have control of?
no.
So sometime in the last 8 minutes or so, what should have happened? You should have smoked and warded there.
Yeah, I think I did drop a ward, but they probably either timed
You
that
probably
or-
didn't smoke, and you probably just walked through a D ward or some shit.
Yeah,
All I'm saying
I
is,
did.
it's really crucial that this gets awarded, okay?
Yeah.
And so, because you don't want to help this Morphling, and you need him to do what to enable you as a team. If he's going to be farming on his own, how can he actually contribute to the game?
Applying pressure to the lane they're not in.
Exactly. So what's your job? If you're enabling him to pressure bottom, what's your job as a group of 4?
Probably push another lane or smoke and try to fight.
If you're behind, are you pushing 2 lanes at once?
No.
Or at the disadvantage? When I say you're behind, you're only down by 1k, but like you have a Morphling, right? Like
Right.
you're not at an advantage, in my opinion. Like
Right.
you are behind. I think you
Yeah.
feel that way too.
Yeah.
So my point is, what enables the Morphling to create pressure? There's only 2 things that have to do with pressure. Creating it.
And relieving it.
Okay, so what is your job?
Relieve pressure.
Okay. So how long do you have to relieve pressure for?
Not long. I can like dual breath or macropire.
I'm saying how long do you have to relieve it for, though?
As long as he's applying pressure.
Like, until they are forced to leave by him.
Yeah. Right.
You see that, right? Like, he creates it, you have to relieve it until they respond to his creation of it.
Right.
Okay, that's how pressure is going to work in every game. So your job is to relieve pressure until they are forced to deal with Morphling. So what might be a good time in this game to smoke? I'll just tell you because it's a hard question. Your Morphling has created pressure. You guys have been relieving it. They
So,
separate to deal with Morphling's pressure.
Yeah.
You smoke, right? Like, that's a perfect time.
Right, because we can
smoke.
relieve the pressure, and then as they're going to respond to the Morphling, and then we can basically like smoke in after them, so they go on their Morphling. Morphling
So-
can survive because he's Morphling. And then
Let's
we
be
can
clear.
back
Why
them.
was your game plan to come back in this game to create pressure bottom and then force a good fight off of it? Why was that your game plan? You asked me what you should do to come back in this game, and I gave you exactly what you're supposed to do, but I'm asking you now, why overall was that the game plan?
Because since we're at the disadvantage, we're not just going to like 5-man or 5-man push a tower.
Okay.
We got to rely on split push
Okay, why do you have to rely on split push?
because they're ahead.
Remember when I said they were ahead, what they were going to do with it, and why? Why do you rely on split push?
Because because they're gonna fight.
A very simple answer. You have a Morphling.
Yeah.
If you had a hero that doesn't split push, are you going to rely on split push to come back into the game?
No.
No. I know that may seem like an oversimplification, but like when you ask yourself what you need to do, you look at your fucking heroes and you say,
Yeah.
well, we have 4 heroes that absolutely need to fight. Like, that's all they do. We have Jakiro, Undying, Necro, and Viper. So I come to the conclusion that we are going to have to fight our way back into this game.
Yep.
But then we have a hero that doesn't just help us fight necessarily. He's much better at applying pressure. So we have to create pressure and relieve it, force a favorable fight around the Morphling
Yeah.
with us 4. So that is accomplished by creating pressure bottom, relieving it top, forcing them to separate, and then smoking to your Morphling. Or smoking to mid and meeting your Morphling there. Something like that, right? Like, that's the perfect plan. My point is, all of this is, all this knowledge, or all this, like, ability to know what to do is by virtue of just looking at the heroes in the game, right? That is...
Yeah.
Anyone here know what a dead lane
And
is?
all this stuff just needs to be done faster over time. You're not going to do it perfectly. You're not going to do it all the time. You're not going to do it as fast all the time. The goal is to get as accurate and quick as possible about every decision we're making.
Because I can look at their lineup and know, like, if they get an advantage, they're going to 5-man push.
Yes.
Or, like, they're going to 5-man down a lane.
So the final point I'm going to make about, because we're going to wrap up this session, is the question I get is BSJ. What if Radiant... You know, they're supposed to pressure top and mid and Roche. What if they just don't do that? What do you think my response to that would be?
Then they should lose.
Yeah. Because, like, it's kind of like, if I'm thinking to myself as that Centaur, this Jakiro and Morphling with an advantage should be pressuring me under my tower, and you're just not doing that.
Right.
What's my reaction? I'm like, okay, I'll just keep farming this lane.
Yeah.
like you have to think, like, what do I want to be doing in the game? The thing is, if I'm the Centaur, all I want to be doing is farming my blink or getting items.
Right.
So I'm thinking to myself, what's going to stop me from doing that? And I'm thinking the ideal play for the opponent is this. If they're not doing this, I'm just going to keep doing what I want to do.
Right.
So if they're all playing bottom, I think you still have the same fucking game plan. They're just being inefficient. So maybe Morphling plays top and the four of you play around mid or bottom.
Yep.
Right? It's the same thing. They're just being inefficient. That's all that is. So I'm just pointing out, people give me that question all the time, and I think it's the biggest scapegoat of all the questions. It's like, they're just wrong. You approach the game the same way, it's just the opposite side of the map. Right? Like, the dead lane is top because that's where they're supposed to be pressuring. Not where they are pressuring. That's where they're supposed to be. So if you understand you're not supposed to be top because they can kill you, but you see 4 bottom, where should the Morphling go? Like, if they're 4 bottom,
he should stay top.
Yeah, he should just be top because he knows the reason he's not supposed to be top is because they can kill him.
Yeah,
or right?
Yeah, because like you say, like, the dead lane's not always, you know, the same lane. It's wherever, like, I mean, if
the opponent is establishing it, and it should be based on what their objective is. And if they're making the dead lane the wrong lane, they're just bad. Like, they're just being bad. That's all there is to it. Like, when there's random times on stream where I'm like, they're just playing the map really poorly. Like, yesterday, I mean, I fed relentlessly, but, like, it was just on my Smurf. I played Mirana, and, like, I'm like, I guess I'm just gonna go Midas, because they're playing this game terribly.
Yeah.
Like, they're just, like, playing the map really bad. And then I just recovered. Like, when you play the map poorly, all you're doing is giving the opponent the ability to come back. That's what you're doing, right? Like, you're giving them the ability to get more than they should, so their timings are going to come faster, and their ability to fight you or come back in the game is just going to be accelerated. So, okay, man. Any last questions before we wrap it up?
No, I think that's all. I mean, they probably just have to watch this all back.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, I highly recommend watching it. It'll be on YouTube, and then it'll also be in the archives of Twitch, so I'll be highlighting it. So thanks for signing up, man. It was quite an in-depth one, and have a good one, dude.
Thank you.
So